Good evening. Welcome. The light keeps catching my zipper on the turtleneck, and it looks like I'm wearing like a priest's robe. That's not the intended vibe that I'm going for. Hello, and welcome to the Elder Brain. Normally, this would be the time slot where we would do our weekly Dungeons and Dragons game. However, I have preempted the airwaves tonight. And as you notice, all of the lights in this recording office are out. And you also notice that I am not using a fun virtual background.
It's weird.
Which should give you an idea, which should give you a clue as to the kind of game that we have planned tonight. In honor of the fact that this is October, the spookiest of months, our annual Halloween one-shot will be run by me this year. And I will be running the game 10 Candles by Stephen Dewey and published by Cavalry Games. We're going to be doing something a little bit different for this stream. We're actually going to do the character creation on air, as character creation in this game is a bit of a collaborative experience. Then we'll be taking a short break. And then once the break is over, then we'll be jumping into the game proper. Full disclosure, 10 Candles is a game that is intended to be played in person with actual physical props, as will become apparent as we play. Now, we have taken some concessions in order to play this in an online format. However, I will be doing my best to uphold the spirit of the game as much as possible, even if some of the in-person fun that this game normally provides will not be apparent. Nevertheless, if you are watching this and the game looks fun to play, I would highly recommend getting some people together, as long as that's safe and COVID compliant where you are, and try playing this in person because it's a lot of fun. Just to set the scene, I'm going to read an excerpt from the book now to give our players and you an idea of what's in store.
Spoopy time.
10 days ago, something or someone blotted out the sky. Now no stars can be seen, all communication with satellites has been lost, and the sun no longer lights up the sky. 5 days after this anomaly occurred, they came. No one knows exactly who or what they are, but two very important things are clear. They fear the light, and they are coming for you. Following their appearance, terrified humanity lit up the world, causing massive large-scale blackouts. Now those who are left cling to dying generators and unreliable flashlights. Small patches of survivors huddle by radios, listening hopefully for news about military rendezvous points or rumors of some illuminated oasis to reach them. But even with the destination to reach and hope to guide them there, the woods are lovely, dark, and deep, and there are miles to go before you sleep. 10 Candles is a game in which your characters will die. This is not a likelihood. No. This is a certainty.
Wow.
It is a game about tragic horror, but it is also a game about hope. Because while your characters might not survive the night, there is a chance that their actions will help those who come after them. And to that end, let's begin with the character creation.
Boy, howdy.
Now, character creation in 10 Candles is divided into about 4 different traits that affect your character. Every character will have a virtue, a vice, a moment, and a brink. Virtues and vices are the most basic of traits. These you'll be giving to each other. The moment is your character's time to shine. And should they rise to the occasion when their moment occurs, then they will be given a special reward as a result of that. Finally, your characters will have a brink. This represents what your characters do and how they behave when pushed to the limit and when there is no longer any other option. This is the riskiest move, and that's why you can only use it once all of your other options have been burned away. Since we are beginning character creation, I will light the first 3 candles of the game. I'll be using the book a lot as guidance for this. So.
Oh, I see. Let me change over to that screen.
There are 3 lights.
So the first step to character creation is for the group to determine your traits. So vices and virtues. So on your Roll20, I've given you each a handout in your respective folders. Mike, I will make yours available to you right now.
Appreciate it.
In your folder, in each of your folders, there will be a handout that you can edit. One that says virtue and one that says vice. For writing down virtues and vices, try not to be super vague, but at the same time, try to write something that can be kind of like applicable to a lot of situations. You will not be writing these for your own character. You will each write a virtue and a vice, and then you will pass that along to another character. Normally, we'd be sitting in a circle for this. So for the purposes of that, I'm just going to say that right to left, as it is in the Zoom, it's myself, Craig, Ian, Mike. So when I say, you pass this to the left or you pass this to the right, we'll be using our Zoom layout, which viewers might not be able to see as our guideline for that.
Okay.
We don't necessarily all have the same Zoom layout, though.
Oh, in that case, I'll use my Zoom layout and walk you through that then.
What is? Just tell us what yours is, because we can drag our videos around. So
you guys
sure.
can.
So my layout is me, Craig, Ian, Mike.
Okay, that's what I have.
Okay.
All right. So on the handouts that you've been given, write down a 1-word virtue for virtue, and then under vice the same. And then once you've done that,
show behavior showing high moral standards. That's a virtue. Okay. Edit.
Okay, I see the problem here, Craig. Now it should be editable for you.
I can edit mine.
And now, Craig, you can edit yours as well.
Behavior showing high moral standards.
So sorry, we're doing this for somebody else?
Yes. Yeah. So you'll be writing down a virtue and a vice, and then assigning those to other characters based on our seating arrangement.
Okay.
A good or useful quality of a thing. I totally know what virtue means, by the way. I'm not Googling it right
So
now.
once they've all been written. Oh, sorry.
I did brainstorm some examples ahead of time just to sort of fire out to the group in case you're getting stuck. So stuff like empathetic, knowledgeable, practical, athletic, charismatic, these kind of just.
Okay. All right, I have one.
Okay, perfect. Once everyone's written a virtue and a vice, let me know.
Okay, vice is next. Let's see. And it has to be one word, a 1-word vice?
Yeah, one word.
Okay.
So your virtue and your vice will be used in play. You can burn either of those traits once. Once you've burned it, it's permanently gone. But when you burn it, you have the option to re-roll part of your roll, potentially turning it into a success if it was a failure.
All right, I've got mine.
Okay. Ian, how are you doing?
I'm all done.
And
Ian,
Mike?
do you happen to have a cheat sheet, Ian, on vices?
Vices, some other ideas. So not the one I use, but others could be addict, daydreamer, braggart, know-it-all.
Think of it like fault in D&D.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a flaw.
Yeah. All right. Oh, my brain is just not
Like
functioning
Talen's
tonight.
vice is that he's an alcoholic.
Yes. All right. I'm good. Okay. I've got a vice now. I've got a vice.
So now that they've all been written, I will be assigning them based on your seating arrangement. So in regular play, in regular in-person play, once you've written a virtue and a vice, you pass the virtue to the player that's sitting on your right, and then the vice to the person sitting on your left. So for virtues to begin, Craig's virtue will go to Ian's character. Ian's will go to Mike, and Mike's will go to Craig. I'll just drag those in now and then make them visible. So Craig, in your folder, I've replaced your virtue with the virtue that Mike wrote. Would you like to tell everyone what virtue you've received?
My virtue is that I am practical.
Okay. Ian, I have replaced the virtue in your folder with the one that Craig wrote.
So I got honest.
And Mike, I've replaced yours with the one that was written by Ian.
Okay.
Would you like to tell everyone what virtue you got?
I am handy.
So practical, honest, and handy. I feel like you guys are going to get along at the very least to begin. Next, I will redistribute.
We're all like
vices.
Boy Scouts together or something.
Next, I'll redistribute the vices. So now we're going right to left. So the vice that Mike wrote will go to Ian. The vice that Ian wrote will go to Craig. And the vice that Craig wrote will go to Mike. So, Mike, we'll start with you this time.
Okay.
I've taken the vice that was written by Craig and put into your folder.
Yep.
If you can tell everyone what vice you got.
I am a risk taker.
So you are a handy risk taker.
Yep.
and I try to keep it a one word, but like unnecessary risk is sort of what I was thinking. Like, it's not just like, appropriate risks. It's more like,
Don't worry. I
risky.
In real life, all risks are unnecessary, so I will play this just fine.
Ian, the vice that Mike has written.
Oh, Jesus. I'm an honest know-it-all.
Those go together.
That's an interesting combination.
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, I know it all, and I know it.
And Craig, I've given you the vice that Ian wrote.
Oh my
If you
gosh.
would like-
I am a compulsive liar.
But you're practical.
But I'm practical.
Practical.
It's kind of funny that
compulsive
we've got honest as a virtue and compulsive liar as a vice. It would have been really funny if someone got both of those.
liar.
You lie compulsively, but then you're honest about it.
And that's why I laughed when I received honest as my virtue.
is it?
But I wrote compulsive liar.
Yeah, that could have gone very confusingly very quickly.
Mhm.
That would be
Okay,
bad.
so we all have our vices and our virtues. The second step of play is to select a module. Now, to avoid too much hemming and hawing on stream, we kind of discussed ahead of time what sort of modules we'd be interested in. I think we decided on dead radio.
Mhm.
So now that you all have your traits, each module comes with a little blurb giving you an idea of sort of what to expect from it. So I'm going to read that out loud now, as this will inform your character concepts, which are the next step. So, dead radio. No one's coming. Not anymore. The radio's gone dead, and you're on your own now. There's only one option left. Fort Victor. All the chatter on the radio seemed to imply that Victor's the place to be. But you're a good hour out, over the river and through the woods. Literally. Everyone else is packed up and left by now. The town hall's fallout shelter is slim pickings. Not enough food to last the next few days, not to mention the fact that the generator's been acting up. Maybe a few supplies could still be scavenged, but one thing's for sure. It's time to leave. So for this module, areas of note include the fallout shelter, the bridge out of town, dark woods, and finally Fort Victor. Your goal is to discover what has become of the military forces at Fort Victor.
Those locations again. Excuse me.
A fallout shelter in the town hall, the bridge out of town, the dark woods, and Fort Victor. I'll read the opening of the module out loud once we begin play again, just to refresh everybody.
Appreciate that.
Cool.
And then for our next step, now that we have our traits and our module, the next step is to come up with character concepts. So now that you have your traits and now that you know what kind of setting you're going to be in, the next step is to create a character based on these concepts. Just sort of like a quick description. It doesn't have to be super fleshed out, but just sort of an idea of like, your character's name and sort of what kind of person they are based on the traits they were given and based on where they are. So for example, Craig, you
Yes, sir.
are practical and a compulsive liar.
Indeed.
So what kind of character do you envision yourself as with this combination of traits?
So I'm gonna go with my character's name is Jonathan. Yeah, he hasn't given his last name. He seems to kind of keep that under wraps. But Jonathan is a bit of a con man. He made a living off of conning people, and he still tries to use that to his advantage in survival, and try to convince people that his way is the best way, or that he knows things that he doesn't, to gain popularity, to gain voice in the community, as it were.
Real grifter. I like it. I like that it combines the practicality with the dishonesty there.
Exactly.
I think that's a good jumping off point. Ian, your virtue is honest, and your vice is that you are a know-it-all.
Yeah, that screams to me middle school kid.
I'm actually.
This is gonna get dark.
Yeah, no, he is a 12-year-old nerd, band nerd. Probably
Crap, it's me.
What
Actually,
instrument does he play? This is vital.
Clarinet, obviously.
Oh, of
Okay,
course.
not me.
Hey, he's
You
me.
would, you clarinet kid.
He's an army brat. I think his parents both work at the base. That's
Oh.
that's his tie-in.
Very cool. And then Mike,
Mhm.
your virtue is that you are handy,
Yep.
and your vice is that you are a risk taker.
Yep. So not to go too comical, but looking at this as Craig is describing his character and Ian's describing his, all I can picture as a handy risk taker is Tim the Toolman Taylor.
Yeah.
Not that that'll be his name. Let's go with his name's going to be Frank. And
Ian, did we have a name for your character?
Martin.
Okay, so Jonathan, Martin, and Frank.
Frank. And Frank will be our setting is there's a where are we starting? We're
starting in just sort of like a sort of like undefined small town that's about an hour away from this military fort.
So I think that Frank works at the local like lumber yard or the handyman shop, the Home Hardware or Home Depot or whatever. And he likes to do home improvements on everybody's like on all the neighborhood houses. So everybody knows him. He's everybody's friend. He's
Hello,
handy,
the community kind of thing.
but he likes to
Unlike the
increase
real
the
life
power.
Tim Allen, who's
Unlike
very
us.
much not that.
Mike, I will have to impose on you that I'm going to need Frank's last name because Martin's only going to refer to him as Mr. Such and Such. So,
all right. So what would be the opposite of Taylor? It'll be Frank the
Cooper.
Huh?
Butcher,
Cobbler, Frank Cobbler.
Yes,
Candler,
Frank
Butcher.
Frank Cobbler. That'll be his name. Yep.
Peddler.
Mr. Cobbler. Mr. Cobbler.
It's not going to wear thin at all.
Oh man, that's funny.
Okay. We've now entered the fourth step of character creation, which is deciding our moments.
Mm.
And for that, I'm going to light another 3 candles. In this step, you'll all be determining what your moment is. So moments are, to paraphrase from the book, a personal scene or event that will be played out for each character at some point in the session. When you are in this moment, your character will have the opportunity to find hope, which will be your reward if you are able to make it through your moment with a successful roll. Effectively, if you succeed in your moment and you succeed on the roll made as a result, you will receive a hope die, which is basically an extra dice that you can add to your pool, and it can't be taken away unless something goes wrong when you hit your brink, which we'll talk about later.
Mm.
So again, to paraphrase the book, a moment should encapsulate an event that would be reasonable to achieve and kept succinct and clear to provide strong direction to fold into the narrative. Typically, your moment should be prefaced with, I will find hope, ... followed by the sort of event or possible event that you would find hope in.
Mm.
So if your character was religious, you might say, I will find hope by having a quiet prayer at the nearest church or something like that.
And so we're writing these for our characters?
Yes.
Okay.
Now bear in mind that it should be succinct and clear, but also have the possibility of failing.
Hmm.
Just let me know when you're all done, and then we can go through and introduce them all.
Good.
I am ready.
Okay.
I believe I'm also ready. I think I fulfilled the requirements.
Okay. We'll go through one by one. Craig, in what situation would Jonathan be able to find hope?
I will find hope when I prove I was right about their identity.
Interesting. Ian, what is Martin's moment?
I will find hope when I see my parents again.
Mm.
Aw, they're dead.
They totally are. But I'll see them again and I'll have that finality, right?
And Mike,
I will.
what is your? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say what is Frank's moment. I just wanted to reiterate all the names as much as possible, just so they stick.
Frank, I will find hope if I can build something to assist in our quest.
All right. I think there's a lot that we can do with all of those. And now that we've gone through and established our moments, the final, not the final step necessarily, but the next step is to establish our brinks. Before we begin, I will light 3 more candles on the board. So, as the name implies, a brink is similar to a moment, except it represents your character pushed to their limits. It is sort of, I'll paraphrase from the book again to make sure that I explain it as well. So a brink describes what a character is capable of. Rather than representing the character as they are, brinks are hidden traits which show what the character may become when pushed to the edge of fear, hopelessness, and desperation. When everything else is burned away, a character's brink is their last dark refuge. Whether a character will embrace their brink or eschew its temptations and refuse to give up on hope is each player's decision to make. But in the shadows of the apocalypse, even the strong may give in to the darkness before inevitably realizing what they have become, and more importantly, what they have sacrificed. So your brink is a trait that you can only use once your virtue, vice, and moment have all passed. It is a last-ditch effort to succeed at whatever you're trying to do. And of all the traits that you have to burn, this is the one that has the most dire and highest stakes in terms of consequences. Much like we did with virtues and vices, you will not be writing the brink for yourself. You will be writing it for another character. Everyone will be choosing a brink for the player sitting on their left, with the exception of you, Craig, because I'm to your left. You will be choosing the brink for them.
Oh. Oh.
So does that mean you're writing one as well, Jack?
Hang on, let me double check the rules on that.
Yeah, because
Because then
That's a little confusing.
then
Yeah,
I
'cause
wouldn't
there's one
have
short there.
I wouldn't have a brink then.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I did read up on this section, and basically they have seen you doing something. So this is their insight on you.
So I will be writing one for Mike then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I writing for Craig then?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're writing for Craig. I'm writing for you.
Okay.
Craig's writing for them.
Jeez,
Jack's writing for me.
Yes. Now, when you write your brink, write it with the sort of preface, I have seen you. So it's, I have seen you do, X, Y, Z. This is something that hasn't necessarily happened yet, but it's something that you could be capable of.
Dangerous or deadly traits which represent the extreme means and measures that your character is capable of succumbing to when pushed to the brink.
I think I've got one for Frank. One moment.
So are these supposed to be things that would benefit them, benefit the group, or something destructive?
This should be not destructive, but it should be like something that your character could be capable of if pushed to the absolute limit. So it's not necessarily something honorable, but it's the way that your character might react in a crisis.
Oh, okay. All right.
With the exception, of course, is Craig is writing one for them. And basically, Craig will be saying, I have seen them, and then give a short descriptive phrase, which will give us some insight into what they are and how they operate. So you'll be playing by slightly different rules for that one. It's you get to participate in the world building a little bit as to what they are, essentially. So once everyone's
just a heads up, I might be muting my mic off and on because I've still got a bit of a cough. So if I
It's all
don't
good.
respond right away, if I forget to unmute, then just let me know.
No worries. No, it's all good. Once everyone's done writing, though, let me know. And then starting with Mike, we'll go through and learn what everybody's brinks are.
Oh, okay. I hope I've done this right. I don't know if I've done this right. I am done.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Mike. I put a brink for you in yours, not realizing that you would need the space to fill one out still. So let me just, I'm going to add another brink for you, like another one for like the brink that I wrote for you. And then I'll, pardon our technical difficulties.
Okay. I still see the one that I wrote.
Yes. I haven't actually replaced it yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yours should be visible now.
Yep, I see it.
Okay. If you would like to read it aloud.
All right. I'm assuming we're all done.
I've finished. Yep.
All right. So Frank's brink, as written. So I'm reading this.
Yeah.
Well,
You'll
okay.
read the
So
full.
it says, "I have seen you abandon others to save yourself."
Dark.
It's a dark game.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ian, I've taken the one that Mike has written for you and dragged it into your folder. If you would like to read Martin's brink for everybody.
I have seen you shut down and hide in a corner when pushed too far.
It's 12-year-old.
Yep, that tracks.
Okay. Craig, I will make yours visible in your folder, the one that Ian wrote for Jonathan. Could you read out Jonathan's brink for us?
Wow. I have seen you lose your last shreds of empathy and humanity. Your lost dog posters were both a draw for the children and a way for you to get rid of some unwanted fetters.
Wow. Nice job, Ian.
Trying to
And now finally,
parse this out.
I will read the brink that was chosen by Craig to describe them. And Craig, what you wrote is, I have seen them panic when one is cut off from the horde.
Interesting. So they're not mindless zombies.
Interesting indeed.
What did you?
And now we will move on to
I'm trying to. The last part of it, the lost dog poster is both a draw for the children and a way for you to get rid.
I saw you hanging up lost dog posters, and I know that you got rid of your dog in other means.
That's quite an implication.
Uh-huh. You had a dog, you don't have a dog anymore. You hung up lost dog.
No, I
posters.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just something isn't clicking in my brain right now. I'm not sure what. It's not, but it's not sitting. I'm not sure what the implication is. So yeah, I'll figure it out. It's not blunt enough for me, I guess.
So
A little too
for the next
cryptic. I'm
step,
not getting it.
So for the next step now, we have 2 traits, a virtue of vice, as well as a moment and a brink for every character. The next step is to arrange them into stacks. So I believe you all have the option to click and drag and change the order of everything that's in your folders. You can arrange them however you want. As we go through play, you'll be pulling from the one at the top of the list. So this is the chance to sort of arrange them in the order that you would like them to be played. So within the group, the only rule is that all of your brinks should be at the very bottom, because by their definition, they can only be played last. And it's not recommended that your moment is on the top. If one of you has your moment at the top, that's all good. But let's try not to overdo that too much.
I don't have the ability to rearrange these.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
Well, this might be one of those concessions that we talked about. Because in a physical game, you would literally be like stacking your index cards. But if you can't arrange them, maybe we should just skip that step for now.
Well, if we double click them and then bring them onto the playboard, I can arrange them that way.
You can make a stack of
Yeah.
our own.
Okay.
All right.
And we're pretty much in order.
So the moment shouldn't be first, and the brink has to be last. Otherwise, the top three should be shuffled around. Okay, I'm done.
Top 4? Not even top 2.
So vice, virtue, moment, brink.
Yeah.
And then you just, the top 3 rearrange. Moment just can't be first, or shouldn't be first.
Yeah, I just like them different, so
Oh, okay.
I get you. Sorry, Gavin. I'm a little bit out of it, so
It's all good.
So long COVID does to you.
We're happy to have you with us, but yeah, it's definitely not a treat to have the long COVID. Just let me know when everyone has arranged their
Sorry, yeah, good.
information. Okay. So this will take us into the 7th and final step of character creation, which is inventory supplies. Your character has whatever you've got in your pockets. Equipment beyond this can only be acquired through establishing truths or conflicts to locate supplies. I will now light the final candle. And with that, our 10th candle lit. Now might be a good time to call for a break. And when we get back, we can jump into actually playing the game.
Okay.
Oh, so are we not saying what's in our pockets right now? Like, what do we have, or is that?
I think it's more just sort of like whatever your characters would realistically have. There's not like a.
Oh, I get you.
It's sort of just like the ceremony.
Okay, I get you.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll jump into the start of the game itself.
Sounds
Fantastic.
good.
Let's do it.
All right. Welcome back. For those just attending, for this Halloween month, we are doing a one-shot of 10 Candles, which is an RPG about tragic horror and fighting against going quietly into that good night. You've all created your characters. I have laid out the scenario. I am going to read the blurb for the module once again, and then you will get into your character's final messages, which will be a personal recording that each of your characters will leave to, just in true sort of found footage horror fashion, give some context to anyone who happens to find it after they leave. So to begin, I'll just read out our blurb again for our module, which is Dead Radio. No one's coming, not anymore. The radio's gone dead, and you're on your own now. There's only one option left, Fort Victor. All the chatter on the radio seems to imply that Victor's the place to be, but you're still a good hour out, over the river and through the woods, literally. Everyone else is packed up and left by now. The town hall's fallout shelter is slim pickings. Not enough food to last the next few days, not to mention the fact that the generator's been acting up. Maybe a few supplies could still be scavenged, but one thing's for sure, it's time to leave. So at the start of play, your characters are all together in the fallout shelter. I am now going to temporarily disable my headphones, going off my computer speaker so that you all may record your characters' final messages. Craig will begin with Jonathan.
Look, I know that those who know me wasn't always the most reliable when it comes to what some would call facts. But I was right. And I just want that to stand. I was right. This isn't really a message of hope because I don't really have anybody to give this to. But I want my legacy to be remembered as the man who was right. When everybody thought that I was just making it up, I was right. Do it that way we will.
Mom, Dad, I did what you said, and I went to the shelter at the town hall. For Lieutenant Dana Cairns and Mr. James Cairns, who work at the fort. Mom, Dad, I nailed that arpeggio, though. I swear band practice was worth it in the end. I hope I see you soon.
To whoever should find this, please know that we tried. We tried to get the answers we needed to save the boy. We tried to get to Victor. If you found this, you need to get to Victor. And you need to know that we tried. We tried to get the boy to Victor.
One second while I turn my headphones back on. Okay. I think that went pretty well. So, let me just make sure that's saved. Yes, we are good. Now, so we will now begin play proper. So as this first scene begins, your characters are all together in the fallout shelter. As we've established, food is scarce and it is only continuing to wear thin as the days wear on. and the generator, which provides the lighting for the shelter, has gradually begun to lose its reliability. As lights begin to flicker and dim, you realize that the three of you, the only three that are still left in the shelter, are on borrowed time. Fort Victor lies about an hour away from the town proper. If you can get there, there might be some sort of refuge for you, although the radio chatter hasn't played for some time. What do you do?
Well, I'm not really sure what else I can do for this generator.
Mr. Cobbler, if you can't get any more juice for me, I can't get the radio working again. So, what are we gonna do?
Well, we're either going to need to go out and look for more juice, or maybe it's time to go.
You sure you can't get anything more out of this generator? You're supposed to be the town handyman, always fixing things.
I have kept this thing going months beyond its expiration date.
Fair enough.
We don't have enough scrap in here to keep this thing going. I've used it all.
Well, I personally don't have any attachment to our current locale. What's an hour? I mean, I don't know. Martin, I know he ain't the most athletic, but I think he could still run an hour away, not to fall behind too far. So I think we need to make a run for it.
I
How do we
won't
get outta
keep us
here?
down, mister. I'll keep up, I promise. My mom and dad are waiting for me at the base.
That they are, Martin.
I mean, of course they are. Yeah. You know, I used to run track in my younger days. I could show you a thing or two about how to keep up.
I am up
Endurance
and down. See?
run, you know, doing long runs kind of thing. So yeah. Well, if we're gonna leave,
Sorry,
I
do you
need to
look
see.
at all like you have run at all in your life?
Is this
Out of
the
curiosity.
first of the compulsive lies? Or-
no. I'm no like I look like what you expect of a guy who you know cons all the time. I'm not like out of shape, but I'm definitely not like athletic shape either. So
You don't look like a runner.
A little paunchy, bit of a dad bod.
yeah, me. I look like me.
That's not what I meant.
That's what I meant.
Well, I guess we should gather supply. What is left here that we can carry with us that'll be useful? I mean, we've got
Question.
flashlights, and they've got fresh batteries. That'll last us.
If Martin would like to scavenge to see what supplies are left, this could be our first conflict roll.
Mm.
Awesome.
There are currently 10 candles, which means that you'll be rolling 10d6. All you need is at least 1 6 to succeed on this roll.
Does the number of ones matter at all?
Every one that you roll will be subtracted from the total dice pool until the next scene.
Well, all right. There is 1, 2 6s, 3 6s, and 2 1s.
Okay. So we will only be rolling 8d6 for all conflict rolls for the remainder of this scene.
All right. But I have successfully
Martin-
scavenged some supplies.
You go into the dwindling food stores that were left behind in this fallout shelter. You are able to scrounge up a few things. There's still some canteens of clean water, a pack of spare batteries for the flashlights, food, mostly dried rations, granola bars,
Is there a
trail mix,
Bag or
that sort of
backpack
thing.
or something.
I'll say that there's a duffel bag that you can stuff all of this into and sling over your shoulder without too much obstruction. It's not a lot, but hopefully it'll be enough to get you where you need to be.
Awesome. I will proudly present my findings to the other two. Well, I found all this stuff in the back, Mr. Cobbler and sir. This should be enough to get us to the fort. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just an hour. It's not that far. It's not surviving the elements that is really the great concern. It is whatever is out there. It's them.
Now, Frank, you're a local guy.
Yeah.
When we say an hour away, we're talking like an hour's stroll, an hour's drive. Like, you know what I mean? Like what? That's pretty loose sort of gauge of distance when you say an hour. I mean, an hour for me, for example, somebody who's done a lot of running, for example, might be a little bit different than an hour for little Martin here. So what exactly is an hour?
Well, I suppose we're talking an hour in traffic, an average day's drive out there now, seeing as how we don't have a car and we don't necessarily care about following the road. We're still probably an hour on foot because we have to go through the river, over the hill to get straight there. Now, there is always a chance that we find a car out there. So before we go, I'm going to pull the spark plug out of this generator here. Maybe that will come in handy with a car we might find.
All right.
Okay. I don't think that this is an action which has any outcomes in doubt. So I'll say that you managed to pull out the spark plug. As you do, the generator hums to a sudden halt, and this fallout shelter, this large empty room that you're in, is suddenly shrouded in darkness.
Martin, you said you had flashlights, right?
Yeah, Martin immediately is like fumbling around and the flashlight comes on.
There's a click as the beam of Martin's flashlight immediately blasts your eyes as he shines it directly in your face.
Now,
sorry.
I think Frank will kneel down in front of Martin and say, look him in the eyes and put a hand on his shoulder. Now, Martin, we're going out into the dangerous dark night. I need you to take care of everything in this bag. Jonathan and I are going to take care of you, but I need you to take care of everything in this bag. A lot of this stuff is our lifeline, you understand?
Yes, Mr. Cobbler. Yeah, I'll do my best.
I know you will.
While he's distracted, getting down with little Martin and talking, I'm gonna take a moment to just do a last minute check. Like I have a flashlight. I want to see if I can find like a good weapon.
So this is going to be a conflict roll. You're going to be rolling 8d6. And since 2 dice have been subtracted from play for this scene, I'll be rolling 2d6. Mm-hmm. If I roll more 6s than you, then I will be assuming narrative control of this scene.
Oh,
all right.
You'll still succeed if you roll a 6, but if I have narrative control, then you will have to listen to me narrate what happens, whereas You'll have a bit more going on. We should have done that for Ian's roll. I apologize. I'm still a bit new to this, but
that's okay. All right, 8d6. Here we go. Right here.
I rolled 1 6.
Come on, Craig.
That's 1, 2, 2 6s, and no ones.
Hey.
Oh, very nice. So you succeeded.
2, 3, a 5. Ooh, I got a flush.
So not only did you succeed, but you still have narrative control of the scene. So, Jonathan, why don't you tell me what you find in terms of weapons?
I find a good solid hatchet, like a good sharp long.
Make like a fire axe or something.
Sorry, not hatchet. What's the word I'm looking for? Machete.
Kind of like
machete.
Machete.
Is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, machete. Yeah. So I got a good solid machete. And there's no firearms, unfortunately, but I find a couple of like throwing knives, just like small little knives. So I've got like 2 knives and a machete. We'll say if that's kosher.
I'm surprised that you found throwing knives in like a small town.
Well, not like
Well, I mean, like,
throwing
it's
knives,
a-
just like small,
Oh, yeah.
not like
Like
yeah.
like fixed blade Bowie knife kind of thing.
Yeah, not like a kunai, like a ninja's. You know.
Yeah.
No,
And
they've
I
got like
think
a
that-
compass in the hilt kind of knife, right? Like that.
We had
So
we
the-
had some we had like an anime convention a few years ago. Some Naruto cosplayers had
That's right.
their weapons confiscated for being too accurate.
So the two knives, I'm gonna kind of hide, like I'll put it in like a back pocket, whatever. So the only visible thing that I found is the machete. And
Makes
I kind of
sense.
come back with that and be like, well, somebody left this nice gardening tool just laying around waiting for me, so we're not totally unprotected.
And I will take just one micro step closer to Mr. Cobbler. And I guess we should get going then, right?
Yeah. Yeah, let's get started.
Well, local man, lead the way.
Frank will make his way over to the shelter door.
You approach the shelter door. You pull on the heavy lever that controls the hermetically sealed doorway that opens it up. As you do so, and you hear the hiss of air as the door slides open, you possibly stop to consider how fortunate you are that whoever founded this town was so forward thinking or perhaps paranoid enough to have a fallout shelter installed directly beneath City Hall.
Mhm.
That kind of people.
You
Well,
take the stairways leading up, and as you emerge out from behind the hall through the back entrance, you find yourselves on the darkened city streets. Day, night, it doesn't matter anymore. Ever since the stars went out, it's impossible to tell. You look around and you see the abandoned streets, cars left in the middle of the road where people abandoned them in favor of running. Various personal items strewn about, windows smashed, ransacked, buildings looted. You step out, and Frank, as you take a look around, you look at the ground beneath your feet, and you see 2 large gashes, these gouges, etched directly into the concrete at your feet, nearly 2 inches deep and a foot long each. You don't need to speculate as to what left this mark behind. Instinctively, your eyes turn to the skies to see if you can spot any of them. Fortunately, you see no shadow circling in the dim light of the streetlights overhead. You know that they travel in groups, typically no fewer than 3. From what you've overheard on the radio chatter, you know that they tend to fly into a panic when separated from the horde. And for this reason, you know that they hunt in packs. At the moment, you don't see any, so it seems clear to proceed.
All right, well, the entrances of City Hall face east, so we need to go north to get to Fort Victor.
You're just gonna pretend that torn up concrete ain't no matter?
What does it matter? Whatever made it is out here. We know that. We have to
Yeah.
get to Fort Victor.
Right? What if it's like, well, how fresh of a scratch is that? I mean, I know a few creatures that could leave gouges in concrete like that. Wendigo comes to mind as one. They got, decent claws. Antlers could do it too. Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. We just have to get out of here.
All right. Martin, you ever seen a Wendigo before?
No, sir.
Pray you don't.
Yes, sir.
Imagine Frank's rolling his eyes at this.
All right. You all step out and you begin to move northward.
I think if there are any cars that look in to be decent shape on the way, Frank will stop to take a look and see if there's perhaps keys left in any of the ignitions.
Okay. You want to roll for it?
I would love to.
Okay. 8d6.
8.
And
Okay,
I
so we're
will
still in
roll
the same
2.
scene. All right.
Yes.
Okay. 8d6.
The scene continues until you fail a roll.
Okay.
I rolled no 6s, so you will most likely have narrative control, unless...
I also roll no 6s, and I roll 2 1s.
You rolled no 6s.
So I've got 2 4s, 2 3s, 2 2s, and 2 1s. Really strange, but yes.
Whoa.
Okay. So this means that this scene has now ended.
Oh.
I will extinguish the first candle of the night.
Oh.
Dang.
Can he not burn a value at this point or no?
Oh, that's right. If you wish, you can burn your virtue or your vice in order to re-roll any of the die that were a 1.
And by burning, what does that mean?
In the physical game, you would literally take the index card with your virtue or vice written on it, and you would burn it on one of the candles.
So it no longer applies to my character.
Yes.
Okay.
It still applies for the terms of role playing, but you can only invoke it for use in this instance once.
Okay.
Game's still pretty early, so you might not want to burn it just yet, but
yeah, I don't think I want to burn any of my useful skills yet. Maybe I'll regret that, but
okay. In that case, I will extinguish the first candle, and we will move into our next scene. Craig giving us a wholesome dog break.
A dog.
For those of you that can see.
A dog that Jonathan never had. And he's right here.
So, when we begin a new scene, the first order of business is that we go around and establish truths. The first truth is always that this much we know, the world is dark. And it always ends with all of us saying in unison, and we are alive.
Mm.
In between that, starting with Mike, each of you will establish a truth, something that will come into play in the scene. You're essentially making something canon, including like where this scene picks up, where the last one left off, and anything that might be a help or hindrance moving forward. We'll go through this until we have 9 truths, 1 for each candle, and then we conclude it by saying, and we are alive.
Mm.
So to begin, sorry,
so a truth about our situation, about my character, about
could be any of the above.
Okay. Truth is, for Frank, it was a gamble, a risk to basically lie to Jonathan when he asked if it would take us an hour by foot. I was lying in that I figured we'd find a car. Why wouldn't we find a car in an abandoned city? And so we haven't found a car. So my truth is that it will take longer than an hour to get there.
Okay. Here's my next truth. You were able to break into a car without setting off the alarm. There was no gas in the tank, but in the glove compartment, you found a revolver with 2 bullets.
Ooh.
Craig, would you like to give us a truth?
In the mist here, man. Is that the one? Is the mist or is the fog? Which one
It's
is the
the
movie?
Mist.
I think you're thinking of the Mist,
The
but
Mist.
spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the Mist.
That didn't spoil anything because only if you know, you know. Anyway,
It's also like a 20-year-old movie.
Yeah.
that's true. You can't say spoiler alert on that, but that killed me. Okay. Let's see. Truth. The truth is that Jonathan doesn't believe we'll make it to Fort Victor, and is just kind of resigned to the fact that we're going to go down fighting and that'll be it. And he plans to be the last one standing.
Martin?
The truth is Martin's been holding it the entire time in the shelter, and now that we're out and about in the cold night air, he really needs to find a bathroom.
Okay.
Vital truth.
Mike?
Truth is Frank is afraid he's going to have to use the revolver on Jonathan.
For truth number 6, in searching for a bathroom for Martin, you find a gas station. The lights are still running, and the glass door has been smashed, leaving it open. Craig?
Truth. In the gas station, Jonathan finds a flare gun, but doesn't reveal that he found it. And it's got one flare, and he kind of
Just
pockets it, hides it.
Ian, if you'd like to establish our second to last truth.
I think that Martin is more scared of finding other survivors than of being found by them.
Okay.
He knows-
And for our... Oh, sorry.
Sorry, he knows how people act. He doesn't know how they act. That's kind of the...
Oh.
And now for our 9th and final truth, which we'll all say at the same time. The final truth is, and we are alive.
And we are
So
alive.
everyone on the count of 3.
Sorry.
Sorry. Let's try. 3, 2, 1.
And we are
And
alive.
we are
We are
alive.
alive.
Close enough.
Or are
We'll
we?
pick up the scene. I'll say, right as you are all in the gas station, Martin is either currently in or just finishing up his business in the
Washing
bathroom
my
while the other...
hands.
Yes. And Jonathan, you have just found the flare gun under the cashier's counter.
Yep.
The shelves of the gas station, as you might imagine, have been picked pretty bare, with the doors and windows smashed in. You imagine that it was recently looted. However, the fact that they didn't also take the gasoline from the generator seems a bit suspect. What do you do?
Well,
Mr. Cobbler, if we could find a car, there's lots of gas here. We could totally fill a car up and get right to Fort Victor in no time.
okay, but why is there gas?
Well, why are the lights still on? And everything is smashed. If I had to guess, whoever was here was found. And because there's still gas, it was recent.
Or it's a trap.
As you say that, the 3 of you hear the distinctive sound of a shotgun cocking.
Ooh. Well, Frank will reach for the gun that he's probably stuffed in his pants belt. He's not going to pull it out, but he's going to reach for it.
Martin is so relieved that he just used the bathroom.
I'll just kind of
Now-
I'd be like, there ain't nothing here to take, so we ain't taking anything. Little one just had to take a whiz. We're on our way.
To determine how convincing that is, I'm going to ask you to roll, Craig.
Sweet. And we're
Now we
nine-
have only 9 candles left, which means 9d6.
Right.
This is the start of a new scene, so none of the dice have been subtracted yet.
Oh, baby. That's 4 6s,
Hey.
but 1 1.
Okay, so we're back down to 8 for the remainder of this scene.
And a 2 3 4 5.
Those will not be as relevant.
Unless we're playing Yahtzee.
As you say this, you see a figure slowly sidestep out from behind one of the shelves. It appears to be a middle-aged woman with these just tangles of stark white hair falling over her face. She's wearing a large brown fur coat that's been matted and stained in places. Dark brownish stains, which you imagine might be from dried blood. And she has a pair of thick rubber rain galoshes on as well. She is currently leveling a double-barreled shotgun at the 3 of you. And while she hasn't lowered it in response to what Jonathan said, she also has not yet opened fire on you, which means that it sounds like she is open to parley, to negotiation.
Frank will take his hand off his gun and raise both of his hands as like a kind
You
of surrender.
recognize her?
Oh, I imagine Frank probably would, but sure, yeah. Look, Mrs. Fraser, we're just trying to take Martin here out to Fort Victor. Our generator died. We just want to get there. That was the last thing we heard was there was refuge there. You're welcome to come with us if you want.
She trains the shotgun on you, and with her eyes narrowed, she says, "I'll let you go." And then she looks at Martin. "If you leave that duffel bag of yours on the floor and everything that's in it."
Instinctively clutch at it a little bit.
Now,
I want you gone as well.
Ma'am, no need for violence. You're really going to take supplies from this here child? Is that what we've all come to?
You're going to the fort, right?
Hopefully.
Should be plenty of supplies there.
Well, we need the supplies to make it there. Like Mr. Frank here said, you're more than welcome to join us. Might make you going a little bit easier, but what's left here for you?
It's not that far to the fort. Reckon you'd be there in less than a day, even on foot. I'll let you keep whatever medical supplies you have in there, but food and water, I'm going to need those.
Martin, why don't you tell Miss Fraser here why we need to get to the fort?
But that's where my mom and dad are, and my mom's in the army, and she'll help us. She helps protect everyone.
Martin, why don't you make a conflict roll for me?
Oh boy.
I rolled a 5 on mine, so you won't have to worry about any narrative control being taken.
All right. Well, on the upside, I rolled 3 6. On the downside, there's 2 1s.
Oh no.
Okay. So you're down to 6d6 for the remainder of this scene.
Yep.
And as I try to get more into the habit of giving out narrative control, why don't you tell me how Mrs. Fraser responds to what you said?
Mm.
How does her body language seem to change?
She seems to, when I mention my mom being in the army, she kind of bristles for a second and then loosens up. And her son is also working on the base. And that's, yeah. So she wants to hole up here, but she also wants to get news of her son.
As you say this, she lets out a sigh, breaks open the brake action of the shotgun, and takes the shells out and sticks them in one of the pockets of her coat. You have lights on you, right?
That exact opportunity to shoot her with the flare gun.
Oh my God. Okay.
Wow.
As soon as she lowers the gun, I take the flare gun out and
Man, he beat me to it.
66.
Bloodthirsty.
Frank was gonna shoot her.
You roll 66, I roll 3d6.
1 6 and 1 1.
Oh,
Okay, so you're down to 5d6.
Yeah.
Although you did win, and you do still have narrative control. So
oh wow.
why don't you describe to me what happens?
So as Martin is sort of explaining, winning her over, my whole intention was to get the kid to distract her, which seems to work perfectly. And as soon as I see that tension leave and I know that she's not going to be able to react as quickly, I take that moment and just like line up like right between the eyes kind of thing, like right in the face, and just let the flare gun go right. And so it like hits and she kind of burns.
I think she's probably knocked back by the impact.
She's knocked
from
back
the flare
by
gun.
it, yeah.
Flies back like the dead on strike. She doesn't even have time to react. She's just on her back. You can instantly tell that she's gone, rolling across the ground. Immediately, her coat goes up in flames, and that's when you realize that you've got an open fire at a gas station
with shotgun shells in her pocket.
So in that moment, I quickly yell, I was like, Martin, she was going to kill you. Saw it in her eyes. Frank, time to get out of here.
I think Frank will run over to Martin, maybe grab him by the hand, and start making his way as far away from the flames as possible back out into the street.
As they do, as the flames spread through her coat, you hear two small explosions as the buckshot in her pockets goes off. And as the fire begins to spread and grow, you also hear a sound overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Echoing through the empty hallway streets, you hear the sound of a high-pitched clicking.
Told you they were close by, Frank.
What do you do?
I mean, we need shelter from whatever this is, so I think Frank is probably with Martin in tow, looking for somewhere that we can dart into until this clicking sound passes by.
Okay, this sounds like a conflict roll.
Sure.
Go ahead and roll 5d6 for me.
All right. Don't screw me, dice. Oh, thank you. Oh, you rolled one as well. Okay, I rolled 1 6, and I rolled 1 1.
So we're down to 4d6 now.
Yep.
I will give you narrative control of this since we tied. And I will let you determine what kind of shelter you find.
All right. So running away from a gas station. I think we dart down an alley, hearing the clicking overhead, and we find the first open door, and we jump inside, and it happens to be the back storage room of a local dining restaurant, like not like a McDonald's or something, but like an eatery, like a sit down restaurant,
like a local diner.
Yeah, like a local diner. Yeah. So
they're sort of like back store room.
Yeah.
As you back down and you slam the door behind you and you all huddle down, you hear a rush of air, like something heavy descending from the sky, and then a loud thud directly outside the door as something touches down on the ground directly outside of this room that you've all piled into.
Quick interjection, Jack. Trillium's wondering if she's allowed to watch this, or is there going to be spoilers for something?
What's that?
Trillium Gal is wondering if she can watch this.
This will not be relevant. Don't worry, Trillium. This will not be relevant to the other 10 Candles to game I'm running next week.
All right, there you go.
It'll give you a little insight into how the game is run, Trillium. So in fact, you probably should watch it.
There you go.
As you hear just a rush of air and then something landing to the ground with a heavy thud, you all stop as you see the lamplight from the still operational streetlight shining in under the door. And as you look, you see as a shadow darkens it momentarily. You hear the sound of claws scrabbling on concrete and the distinctive chirping, now deeper, now throatier, that you're immediately near as you hear this creature pawing and sniffing around at the base of the door.
I think instinctually, Frank will probably kneel down behind Martin and cover his mouth to make sure that he stays quiet. And then it's at this point that Frank will reveal the revolver that he's got, and he will point it at the door.
Probably got the machete in hand too, just like.
As you do, there is suddenly a second thud directly above your head, shaking the plaster from the ceiling above you, as you hear a second impact land on the diner roof, followed by a third one, also on the roof. They like to travel in packs.
Of course they do.
As you hear just the sound of footsteps, heavy footfalls as the two on top of the roof move around, as you continue to hear the sniffing and chirping of the one directly outside the door.
And I'm going to sort of gently move your hand off my mouth and just sort of gesture towards the other door that leads into the restaurant from here and say, we need to go.
I think Frank will nod and carefully, slowly start making his way to the other room.
Jonathan, you've got your hand raised.
I just motion for a second and I point to Martin and kind of make like a flashlight.
I produced my flashlight. It's like,
kind of like ready to, like, don't turn it on.
Mm-hmm. Thumbs up, ready to fire.
If they come.
All right. He's ready to flash them. Woo!
Frank will lead the way with his gun out in front.
Okay.
And slowly open.
You're
up
moving
the door
from
to
the back
diner.
room.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going up towards the seating area. Or towards the kitchen, maybe, whatever would be next.
Through the kitchen.
Yeah.
We're down to 4d6 now, right?
Yep.
Sure
Yeah.
Would you like to make a roll?
are. Would you like to, or are you going
No. I will.
to? Going to?
Sorry. Let me rephrase that. I'm asking you to make a roll.
Make a roll.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Okay, you rolled. All right.
Whoops. That's not what I meant to do. That was 1d6 plus 5. I meant to roll 5d6.
Oh, no. 5?
I get to roll 5 because I get to roll all the die that were subtracted in this scene.
Oh,
Mhm.
right. Okay.
Okay, he didn't roll any sixes.
Yeah, so you get to roll 4d6.
Yep, I did. I didn't roll any 6s, and I rolled a 1.
Oh, geez.
Guys, I'm killing us. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You might
You
need
have,
to burn. You might need to burn something here, man.
You can burn a virtue if you want,
I think here I will.
or a vice.
And I think. Oh, geez. I think I'm gonna need my vice later, so I'm gonna burn my virtue.
Okay, so you're going to burn the handy virtue.
Yep.
Okay, so
Frank is handy when everything is calm and collected. This is not.
imagine, if you will, just in your mind's eye, picture Mike taking an index card that says handy written on it and holding it over one of the candles until it catches, and then putting it in a fireproof bowl that we've safely set out ahead of time. So, if one of your traits is active, you can choose to burn it in order to re-roll all dice that landed on a 1.
Okay,
Trait
so I
is
get
burned to do this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna re-roll one of the dice. Oh, I got a 6.
Okay.
Are you serious?
I got a 6. I can show you guys if you want.
What?
I got a 6.
I'll believe you. I'll take your word for it.
Oh.
So one thing I'm not clear on, does it still get removed from the pool if he re-rolls it?
Because I rolled the 1.
It does not, because you turned it into a success.
Okay.
We still have
So you still have
46
4
So we're still at
Yep.
4 dice.
And you have narrative control, Mike. So why don't you tell me how Frank's handiness helps them get into this other room as quietly as possible?
Yeah, Frank Handy.
He's
okay.
He hinges and takes them off.
Well, yeah, I mean, I honestly, I think Frank is considering not any noise, so I think Frank looks around the kitchen, finds a little bit of grease or oil, and does dab that on the different hinges of the door, because I imagine it's a swinging door. It's not a handled door, because people will be coming in and out all night.
Yeah.
So it's a swinging door, so he's going to make sure that the hinges are greased and not going to squeak at us. And then I think Frank is going to grab a bunch of towels. And he's going to wrap his arms around with the towels just to try to muffle any noise that his hands might make trying to move this thing open. So he will open up the door with his gun drawn and slowly step in to the kitchen and make his way through.
As you open up the door as quietly as possible and creep into the other room, you still hear the sound of them moving around on the roof above you and outside of the restaurant, but none of them seem to have taken notice of you yet. You're now in the open diner proper. The huge windows that adorned the front wall of this establishment have since been smashed in. You see tables overturned, various refuse strewn about. So this place seems to have fared no better than the gas station. Chances are whatever supplies you're able to find in here would probably be slim to none. However, first order of business is finding out how to escape this place without them noticing you. What do you do?
Well, it's a big diner. Frank is saying in hushed tones, I think we need to create a distraction by the front door and then go back out the rear door we came in and continue down that alley until we find a safer place.
Yeah, gee, mister, if only we had a flare gun. That would be great right about now.
That would have been...
Shooting daggers at Jonathan.
Now
we got the gun.
Well, yeah,
But
but
not a flare, but I've got the gun.
But we need...
Martin, where's your clarinet? I'm kidding.
I'd pull a couple of reeds out of my pockets, like, this is all I've got right now. Sorry.
Look, there's plates here, dishware that we could frisbee throw out towards the front door, have them smash. Assumedly, they would descend upon that as we sneak back out the back door.
You know, I did play in a professional disc golf tournament a few years before this all went down, so I got quite a good tossing arm.
Okay. Frank is not sure what he thinks of that.
You're going to let Jonathan do the throw? Or...
I mean, he says he's good, so Frank isn't athletic, he's handy. So yeah, I guess. I think you should try 2 plates, throw them at once. So then they'll kind of scatter, shatter, and make a lot of noise.
I mean, could do that. Could also just throw some of the supplies in from the bag that we've got.
We might need those.
Might need them now.
It's a few granola bars and some
Hey,
batteries
I
for the flashlights.
Granola bars. These things are hungry, right? I'm sure they'd probably rather have granola than nothing.
Can we unwrap one quietly?
No.
Probably
Crinkle,
not.
crinkle, crinkle.
Well,
I mean, there's probably like a
alright,
pair of
alright.
scissors or a knife around or something. Cut it open.
That's fine. I'll throw.
You're going to be
Plates.
throwing.
The plates are the most practical answer here, and I'm practical. So
Okay. So if you're going to throw a plate, that's going to be a conflict roll.
now,
4d6 versus my 5.
now Craig is actually a good frisbee thrower. Jonathan, who knows?
I imagined as much.
All right, 4d6. Here we go. That's 1-6.
Oh,
No ones. So we tied.
That's a success. You have narrative control. Why don't you tell me what happens?
Oh, okay. All right. So we tied there, right? So, okay. I find the right size plate, dinner plate, a little bit too big. So I go for one of the more dessert plate styles and get a better handy grip on it. And with surprising skill, nice backhand toss, he kind of like just a little flips the plate upside down and kind of does a chuck. Then you just see the plate just kind of like does a nice little arc out through the front door and then like kind of bounces once on the pavement outside and then like just cracks. Not very loud. It's more like a
As the plate shatters some feet away on the street, all the sounds that you heard up above, all the shuffling and heavy steps, suddenly go silent. There's suddenly a vibration that runs through the building as more plaster falls from the ceiling, as you just feel the woof of something pushing off of the rooftop with great force. And through the smashed in windows of the diner, huddled behind the overturned tables, you all watch as a massive figure lands with a loud thud to the ground where the plate shattered. Its back is turned to you, and in the dim light of the fading streetlights, all you can make out is a dark silhouette. An impression of coarse, shaggy fur, long limbs, and a hunched posture. It's back to you as it begins sniffing around at the broken plate. What's up, Jonathan?
I knew they were furry.
Time to go. Go, 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 go.
I
I
think
knew it.
I think at hearing that and with Martin's little go, 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 yeah, I think we'll make our way to the back door.
Would you like this to be your moment, Jonathan, or would you like to save that for later?
No, not yet.
Okay.
On our way to the back door, and Martin's like, actually, the first throwing discs were actually pie plates from the Frisbee Pie Company. As we're going up it.
As you're saying this, you're suddenly cut off as a massive explosion from somewhere far away rocks the diner as you all stumble on your feet. You realize that the fire from Mrs. Fraser that you left behind at the gas station must have finally spread to the generator, igniting the gasoline inside. As it does, you look over your shoulder and watch as this hunched over creature pauses and stands up as you see the bipedal shape of a 9-foot tall creature rise to its full height and turn an unseen head in the direction of the explosion. You watch its knees bend as, with a powerful leap and the spreading of what appear to be thick, leathery wings, it takes back off into the sky as you hear the other two take off as well to fly off and investigate the noise. they have been thrown off the trail for now.
Time to go.
Yep.
All right. What do you do next?
I think we go out the back door.
Frank, lead the way.
Yeah. Frank will lead the way back out the back door.
We still need to get to the bridge out of town before we can even get close to the fort.
Yeah, I think.
As you are approaching,
Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
oh, sorry. As you're approaching the bridge, leading out of the town and towards the woods, a very salient thought occurs to you, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
The route that you're taking, it will take you past your house. What you do with that information is up to you.
I know that my mom has a gun safe at home, and it probably would still be secure. And I will share this with the group that we're going by my house, and my mom has a safe with at least one rifle and one pistol in it. And I know the combination. I shouldn't, but I know the combination.
I like doing those like annoying like head scruffs.
Are you going full on Shane? Is that what you're doing here?
Yeah. Hey. Attaboy, Martin. I think we could use both of those, Frank.
I think
All
Frank will agree. He'll go along.
You're making your way towards Martin's house then?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a risk to take more time, but it's perhaps a necessary risk.
What did Martin's childhood home look like?
Ooh.
It is in the section of town where they put up officers with families. So they're all very similar looking,
Cookie
1.5
cutter.
story back split,
Yeah.
gray siding. Yeah, no, it's a pretty cookie cutter kind of subdivision of military housing.
Fair enough. Of course, it was probably in a better state the last time you saw it. As you approach and come up through the driveway, you see that the lawn has been torn to shreds. The basketball net that stood above your driveway has been snapped and lies just broken in the middle of the driveway. The
Still
front door
looking
has been
pristine, unused, but yes.
the floor has been kicked in. The windows, while barricaded with wooden planks, you see that the glass in them has been shattered, and all of the lights in the building appear to be off.
That makes sense.
On that road.
Martin, where's the safe? Is it upstairs? Is it in the basement? Is it in the garage?
It'll be in the garage. Mom would have been at work, and Dad probably went to find her, just like I was told to do. Well, I was told to get, if I was in town, go to the town hall, and otherwise go to the base. So Dad probably went to the base already, which is why the house looks like it does.
Okay, and aside from the garage door, is there an exterior door that goes into the garage, or do we have to go through the house?
No, we got to go through the house.
Okay. All right, then.
Now, hold on, Martin. You got any front steps that are like extra creaky floorboards? Like, You know, when you're trying to be
Oh,
quiet
trust-
and you don't want your parents to know that you're awake.
Oh,
What
trust me,
kind of
Mr.
floors
Wyatt,
you got?
I got it covered. You just walk where I walk. We'll be fine.
That's what I figured. Give him another scruff. Knowing that he like obviously kind of like moves away from it, but still like, yeah, there you go. Like a Boromir too, like a yeah.
Not becoming attached to you. You still shot a lady in the face.
It's true. Hey, but she was gonna kill you, so I mean, you gotta look out for you, right? That's what Frank and I are doing. So
She was going to give me piano lessons if her arthritis hadn't gotten so bad.
you don't give piano lessons with a shotgun. Just at least not where I grew up. Just saying.
Piano lessons are certainly not happening anymore. Jonathan, why don't you go with Martin to the gun safe? I'll stand here at the front door and keep watch.
Okay.
Fair enough. You
So
know how to use
you-
that revolver you got there, right?
It's basically a nail gun.
Well, sure.
So Jonathan and Martin are entering through the front door.
Yeah.
Okay.
Frank will as well. He'll stand by the front door and look out the windows.
I feel like this being Martin's home. Martin's
Like
kind of in the lead.
I
here,
got to
yeah.
take the lead. Yeah.
It's your house, man.
Martin, as you step in through the front door into the front hall foyer, there's a set of steps leading up to upstairs where you know that your bedroom and your parents' master bedroom will be. Onwards, the front foyer hall takes you into the kitchen. You can tell from where you're looking that things are in a state of disarray. Furniture smashed, deep gouges and scrapes in the walls. It's in a complete state of disarray, and you see various items which recognizable from you growing up in this house, now completely alien to you as they lay scattered and broken along the floor.
Yeah. It's like my dad always hated that lamp, but it's broken on the floor and it's still kind of upsetting to me. And that kind of stuff. And you know, the carpet's torn up and it's a little disconcerting to go into your own house and see it a complete mess like this. So he's moving cautiously and still is determined to get to that gun safe to prove himself a worthy contributor to this group. So yeah, we will get to the garage or to the door into the garage at least, and open that up and flashlight at the ready, sort of flash it around and make sure there's nothing untoward inside the garage.
Can I say, like,
As-
so while he's doing this, like, I'm gonna be looking around, thinking practically, you know, realizing I might see things that he might miss because he's got his mind on set on things, and he might,
Yeah.
or you know, little kids tend to look over certain things. So I'm thinking, like, I'm looking for specific signs of recent activity or anything that might kind of give us some information.
This sounds like a conflict roll.
All right, are we at 4 still?
Yeah.
Go for
We're
it.
still at 4. I rolled
Okay.
1 6, so as long as you succeed, you'll have narrative control here.
That's the face of somebody who rolled 4 6s.
Yeah, that's the face of somebody who rolled no 6s and 2 1s.
Ooh.
Would you like to burn a virtue or a vice to re-roll those 2 1s?
We still got
I
8
mean, this-
candles.
Yeah, the practical part of Jonathan wants to save that practical part, so I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I don't think he'll take the fail on this.
I will extinguish another candle, and then we will move on to our next scene.
Oh boy.
8 candles remaining.
That's
8 truths.
like, shoot, 2 1s.
8 candles remaining, 8 truths, the last one of which is that we are alive. This is what is true. The world is dark. Craig. Oh, actually, yes, Craig. Because you failed the roll, you get to say the first truth.
All right, okay. The first truth is that as we sort of pass by the stairs leading up, I'm going towards where the garage is. I see a body at the top of the stairs, kind of hidden in shadow, that very much looks like a male, father-like individual.
Uh-oh.
Ian.
As promised, Martin has the combination, opens the safe. There is a rifle, a semi-automatic rifle, and a handgun in there, but there's no ammunition.
Ooh.
Mike.
While watching out the front door, Frank is certain he has seen flashlight, the light from a flashlight in a house across the street.
For my first truth, I will say that Martin's parents had a landline phone with an answering machine. Against all odds, the answering machine is still intact, and there's a blinking light.
Ooh.
Craig.
Truth. Jonathan does not tell Martin that there's a body at the top of the stairs, and tries to just encourage him and like keep his attention on the rifle and everything, and just like, I'm sure we'll find your parents. Everything is gonna be great. It's a good sign, right? Like, this wasn't broken into. If it was open, that mean that your parents would have got into it. So
Ian.
Upon returning from the garage, I guess Martin will have seen the answering machine light, and against better judgment, will listen to the message.
Mike.
It's like you've served up what the message is on a silver platter to me if I wanted to take it.
Mhm.
do it. Do it.
Well, I mean, the game's got to end at some point. All right, so you push the button, and on the other end of the answering machine, you hear your mother sobbing into the phone as there is a cacophony of rifle fire behind her. She is telling you and your dad that she loves you and that you have to get out of town. Or not that you have to get out of town. She is also telling you to get to Fort Victor. And then the phone goes dead.
And our final truth, everyone say it with me. And we are
We
alive.
are alive.
Alive.
We'll begin the scene just as Martin is listening to the message as it comes to an end, and you hear the click. How does Martin feel in this moment?
Conflicted, confused. He had assumed that his mom was already at the base, not that she had been deployed somewhere off base. She is an inside, like, she's an analyst, she's an inside worker. She shouldn't be out where gunfire is happening anyway. The fact that she was explains why she was so distraught in the phone call. Yeah, he's concerned at this point. He's upset because everyone was supposed to meet at the base, and now it sounds like no one's at the base.
As you ponder the implications of this message, something catches the corner of your eye. A shattered frame lying on the floor near the answering machine. Broken glass. There's the photo in it seems to be intact, although it's currently lying face down on the floor. It looks like if you're gentle, you can pick it up without cutting yourself on the glass.
Yeah, I'll grab that.
You pick it up and turn it over in your hands. This is a photo that has sat in the front foyer for as long as you've known. Martin, you're looking at your parents' wedding photo. And it might not be in the flesh, but in this moment, for the first time in nearly 10 days, you got to see your parents again. This is your moment. Roll 8d6 for me.
Boy. Oh, God. What am I looking for here? I have 3 1s and 1 6.
Oh, well,
Okay, well, you can burn something if you want, but it is a success. That will reduce you to 5d6s if you don't burn anything for the remainder of this scene.
I will burn my virtue of honesty
Okay.
and re-roll these 3 1s. They're no longer 1s, no more 6s, but they're not 1s anymore.
How does Martin's honesty help him emotionally in this moment?
As I'm holding the picture and Jonathan is still skulking around nearby, and I'm just sort of saying really more to myself, but he's here to witness, is like, my mom and dad, they were going to be getting divorced soon. They were not having a good go of it. And Dad was sleeping down here in the living room. Mom was upstairs. I don't know if he would have answered the phone from her.
Tough kid.
Martin,
Sorry to hear that.
Martin, you have succeeded in your moment, which means that you have gained a glimmer of hope. And with it, you've gained a hope die. Your hope die is an additional d6 that you can apply to any roll that you personally make. You cannot give it out to other players. However, a hope die is considered a success on a roll of 5 or 6.
oh,
Hey,
If you roll a
Andy.
5, if you roll a 5, it does not count towards your number of 6s for the purposes of maintaining narrative control, but it can still be used to pull out a success.
Gotcha. I have a special die for that.
And your hope die is also not lost if you roll a 1.
Only lose hope after you've gone past your brink.
That's right. So for the scene, you all still have 8d6 available. And let's hop over to Frank for a second. Frank, you said that you saw what looks like flashlights some distance away while keeping watch outside.
Yeah, in the house across the street from ours.
What do you intend to do with this information?
I don't think that being in a larger group is going to be better for us. So I feel like Frank is not going to tell Jonathan or Martin that he saw the lights. Rather, Frank is going to try to avoid the lights. So he's going to say to Martin and Jonathan, all right, I think from here, maybe we should stay off the main road. We should go out the back door, travel in the backyards until we get to the bridge.
Jonathan, since Ian is BRB, we'll say that maybe you gave him just sort of a moment to process and just sort of like say goodbye and everything. So you would be the first one out.
All right. Can I, when Martin's looking at the picture, I kind of like look at the figure, the shape of like, his dad, and like match the body, the top of the stairs. I'm like, yep.
That makes sense.
But I kind of keep it to myself still. So if Martin's there, I go at the back. Sorry, is Frank still at the front?
Well, Frank will lead up the rear as we make our way to the back door.
Okay. As I go at the back door, I'm still. So Jonathan wants to know what these things are. It's kind of like bugging him. So he's going to, you know what? I think I see a path. Instead of going down the road there, if we kind of take these back route here, like through that alleyway there, I think closer to town, but then it'll take us kind of back around towards the bridge. Totally like faking confidence that I have, I see that. I see it. It's like a shortcut. I think that'll be a good way to go back through that way. You want to stay as far away from the road as possible, right? So we want to do it least expected. These things aren't going to expect us to kind of come back to where we last saw them. They're distracted by that gas fire. Let's go that way, down that alley. I think it's probably a better idea.
Stay on the main road and potentially be discovered by what I thought was flashlights in the other house, or go down an alley which is back in the city. I think, yeah, we'd probably go away from where I suspect the other people are. So, all right, Jonathan, you think you got a shortcut? Lead the way.
I was an Eagle Scout for 7 years. Did a lot of trekking and pathfinding, so got a knack for this sort of thing,
Sure.
So Jonathan, as you take the lead,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking them through the back alley. And this is all pretense to try and get a closer look at them.
Yep.
Okay. As you move through the alley or towards the alley, you turn the corner and see a figure squatting dead center of the alley, directly blocking your path. Back turned to you. It's not one of them. It's too small. This appears to be a person. You see an overturned garbage can beside them. And although their back is turned to you, you hear gross, crunching, just really wet, messy eating sounds. Whoever this person is, they've found something edible in the garbage and are having a moment to eat whatever they found before moving on. And they have not taken notice of you yet. What do you do?
Frank,
Yeah.
there's a person eating garbage in the middle of the alley up there. You see that?
Frank will get his hand on his revolver in his back belt. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't be going this way.
You're right. You know what we could really use?
What?
A distraction.
Okay. What do you have in mind?
Well,
There's no more plates around, mister. What are you going to throw this time?
I don't know. Whoever that is, they're going to be our distraction. They're too far gone. They're eating out of a garbage can. There ain't no hope for them. There's hope for us, though. We can make it to the fort, Victor. If we can draw them to them, him, her, that person there, and we can go the other way. Not have to worry about them chasing us because they will be eating them.
Okay. I think I'm tracking with you. How do you
Great.
propose we?
I
How do
take
you
out
propose?
I take out one of the knives that I've had and whatever, and I'm gonna chuck it.
Okay, this is definitely a conflict. This is definitely a conflict roll. Give me 8d6.
All right, I got 8.
We're getting to zoom in.
It's either a lot of 6s or a lot of 1s.
Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6s and 1 1.
Okay, so that brings us down to 7d6.
Unless
Unless you want to burn anything to re-roll that. And you definitely have narrative control in this instance. So why don't you tell me what happens?
I think I'm still 7d6 for the rest of the scene is pretty good, I think. So I'm okay to let that one go. So despite all his lying, because Jonathan is a very practical individual, he is a very good knife thrower. And so I hit this person like in such a way to hobble them. And they'd like, so like scream. I can't do it. They like scream out in pain, like like yelling now as they can like hobble over and like hitting the garbage can and just like and like screeching out in kind of almost feral cries as well as they're just like bleeding now and like on the ground. Definitely making a lot of sounds and clatter to draw them. And I kind of motion the two back, like push them back. Just be like, we have to wait until they're occupied before we run, or they'll see us too. Don't move.
Jonathan, you hear the sound of screeches overhead. As you look up, and against the dark of the sky, you think you can make out 3 large shadows circling overhead. You also watch as the figure, with some effort, you see him pull the knife out of his shoulder and then reach into his jacket and draw out not a revolver, but a more modern handgun. As you see him scoot back and take shelter behind a nearby dumpster. Now I don't know what the hell y'all did that for. If you're looking for money or supplies, I ain't got none of that. So please just let me be and keep on your business. This is punctuated by the sounds of screeching overhead growing louder. Oh God, please. You folks gotta help me out here. Don't leave me to die like this. Whoever you are, please give me some help.
Do I recognize the voice?
You tell me.
I probably recognize the voice. Because that's the man 3 doors down. I cut his lawn. Mr. Jackson.
You watch as, while Mr. Jackson is obscured from behind the dumpster where he's taken shelter, you hear his shouts turn into a whimper as on the rooftop of the alley opposite him, you watch as the first of these creatures lands down. And then, almost with an insect-like ability, pulls itself over the lip of the rooftop and begins walking straight down the sheer wall, despite its size, despite its weight, moving down slowly, predatorily, towards Mr. Jackson. You hear a couple of gunshots ring out, and you see the muzzle flash from behind the dumpster. Unfortunately, Mr. Jackson, his shooting arm injured by the knife to the shoulder. You see that his shots go wide. One hits the wall next to this creature harmlessly. The other seems to make an impact, but in a non-vital spot. The creature shrugs for a moment and then continues to approach towards him, as you see the other two continuing to circle overhead. Oh God, please. I know you're out there. Please have some mercy. Please don't just sit here and watch me die. What do you do?
Help him, we die. We need to get to the fort. We need to get Martin to the fort. I'm looking at Frank with this, like.
And Martin is like slowly like crawling, walking towards the conflict. Is like he feels the need to go help.
Now we
Sorry,
understand
by the
that
conflict,
these.
he's moving towards Mr. Jackson's location.
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson.
We understand that these creatures kind of go nuts when they're separated from their group.
That's right.
So the two are flying overhead, and this one's kind of gone in for a kill. I
It
wonder
seems like
if we
the
attacked it.
separation is.
I'm just wondering if we attacked it, would that be pulling it away, or
You're wondering if it's isolated enough?
yeah.
All right.
I think that Frank is maybe going to be grabbing Martin by the scruff of his shirt and telling him, "There's nothing we can do. We just have to go."
Martin wants to run to hell. I'm going to say, Martin, make a conflict roll for me to try and escape being held back by Frank. And then, depending on what happens there, we'll determine what happens next.
Oh, boy.
So we're currently on 76.
76 plus my hope die.
Yes.
I rolled no 6s and 2 1s. So
Ooh.
Did you roll a 5 on the hope die?
no, it was not. It was a 3 on the hope die.
Okay.
You would want to burn my vice in order to re-roll that.
I think it makes sense in a fiction. If Martin's a know-it-all, he would probably think that he knows what's best in the situation, which is to help Mr. Jackson.
Yep, definitely.
Go ahead and re-roll those ones.
No 1s, no 6s. So I still
Okay.
failed. But
In that
not removed from
case,
the dice pool.
I will darken a candle, and we will move on to the next scene.
Oh.
You successfully restrain me, and we get to. Well, yes, we'll get to that.
Not hard. You're a 12-year-old clarinet player.
Mhm.
7 candles remain. This is what is true. The world is dark. Ian.
Yeah, so we get to. You hold Martin, and he gets to watch Mr. Johnson get just eviscerated. And if the flare gun to the face didn't make him go catatonic, this definitely does.
Mike.
This is the second time now that Jonathan has chosen violence without really consulting the group. And Frank is thinking more and more that he and Martin need to separate from Jonathan.
Craig.
Jonathan pulls, while he's watching this creature, pulls the carved statuette out of his pouch that he found years and years ago in South America, looks at it and looks at the creature, and I knew it.
Sorry, I forgot to say a truth there, so I'll say mine. My truth is that after being killed by one of them, Mr. Jackson's body is picked up and carried away. The creature does not feed in the alley. Back to Mike.
Should be Ian, right?
Oh, sorry, back to Ian.
Yeah.
We are able to use that as an appropriate distraction, as as it's easier to steer Martin because he's not really resisting right now. He's gone kind of limp for now, and we're able to make it to the bridge at this point.
Mike?
Seeing the bridge up ahead, there is a blockade of cars that make it seemingly impossible to traverse on foot without clearing the cars.
And our final truth, everyone say it with me. And we
are
are
alive.
Alive.
7 candles remain.
Ooh,
Oh
boy.
man. Oh man.
Already feeling dicey.
Yep.
Does Jonathan get to claim his moment?
Let's find out.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll 7d6 for me.
One 6 and no ones.
So that is a success.
You rolled
So-
2 ones. So I was right about their identity.
How about, because you have narrative control, let me ask, do you want to describe how Jonathan is able to catch a glimpse of the creature? And then I guess you also can describe what it looks like in maybe some additional detail.
Mm.
He lingers a few moments as Frank leads Martin away using the distraction. He needs to know. So he like actually creeps a little bit closer and actually watches the kill. Not even thinking about this person, he doesn't know him, doesn't care. And watches the creature, watches how it kills. Gets a good look at it. The whole time just kind of like holding the figure, which he's memorized. He knows it like by feel, by touch. And he realizes that these things they're a hive mind. They feed by bringing the corpse back to sustain their young. They're here to essentially eradicate humanity and claim this world. Which is why he doesn't think that we're going to survive. He doesn't really care. He's more just like, I just need to know I'm right.
And as the creature takes off, as you receive your moment and realize that you were right in establishing your suspicions about these creatures, you gain a small sliver of hope. And with it, you gain your hope die. Fast forwarding to the bridge, you find yourself blockaded by a congested mass of abandoned vehicles that tried to cross the bridge. Clearly, due to the gridlock, people decided to abandon their cars and make a run for it rather than take their chances with the traffic. Even then, you see some of the cars have had their roofs torn off, others deep gouges in the metal. Some seem to have had their tires slashed. Some have even flipped over and crashed, still laying in smoldering heaps in the middle of the road and on the sides. Traversing here is certainly going to be difficult, both in navigating this blockade and also because you realize that as long as you're on the bridge, you are going to be exposed to any of them that are surveying this area from above. What will you do?
Well, I think this might be an opportunity for Frank's moment, perhaps. But seeing as it is a bridge, Frank would like to check for a length of rope or cordage that he could use to perhaps attach two vehicles together.
Okay. So this is rolling your moment. This will be 7d6.
Okay. 76. I cannot believe that I have no sixes.
Did you
I
roll
have-
any ones that you can
I
reroll?
have a 1 that I will re-roll, and I suppose I'll have to burn my vice.
Your vice was
Risk taker.
risk taker.
That
I
seems
can kind of
appropriate.
see that happen. Yeah, you're extending yourself and potentially exposing yourself to try and find something useful in this
Yeah.
area.
Well, and my plan
would
is
like-
kind of a big risk as well.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so my vice is gone. And I will re-roll my 1. The 6.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. I just because it's happened twice now. That one right there is the 6 that I re-rolled.
So you succeed. You succeed, and you have narrative control. So why don't you tell us what Frank finds?
So Frank finds a length of actually not rope. Frank finds a length of chain. Like big linked chain. Perhaps
I
in the-
imagine it's just like in the open trunk of one of the cars, or something.
yeah. It's this. There's like a maintenance vehicle or something out there that's got a big chain to it, and in that, Frank is trying to figure out a way to create some space. Frank is going to, forgive the pun, daisy chain a couple of the cars together, like their main supports, their struts and stuff.
Never
Maybe
ask forgiveness for your puns, Mike. Come on.
maybe 2 or 3 cars that he's going to link up, and then he and Jonathan are going to push one car over the edge of the bridge in hopes that it will then pull the next car and the next car, creating a laneway for us to go. This will create a lot of noise, though, so it's a big risk, but it will clear a path for us.
Okay. In that case, you did burn your vice, so you no longer have either of your starting traits. However, you did get to live your moment,
Mhm.
and now you have a hope dice. A
Yay.
hope die.
Hope dice. Going right there. Do I roll that
I will.
whatever I want? Or is it my next roll?
You basically add it to whatever rolls you make.
Oh,
you don't
it's not.
lose
I don't
it
lo-
if-
oh, okay.
Added to every
It-
roll.
Ah,
Yes.
Okay.
The hope die is unique in that it succeeds on a 5 or a 6.
Okay.
5s, however, still don't count towards narrative control. And you do not lose your hope die if you roll a 1.
Okay. All right. Cool.
The actual, now that you've crafted this thing, I will say that pushing the cars into the thing is going to be a separate roll, however.
Okay. And does it make a difference that Frank plans to do this with Jonathan? Like, do we both roll, or would I just roll still?
I mean, you both have hope die. I'll let you decide amongst yourselves who wants to be the active player in this moment to make the roll.
Your plan,
It's like-
you decide.
Feels like
I-
Frank's.
I was gonna say, I feel it's my plan. I suppose it makes the
It's
most
Frank's
sense that
plan.
if it's gonna fail, it's gonna be because of me.
Okay.
Not
I'm gonna
because of
say
Frank.
roll 7d6. Roll 7d6 first, and then roll your hope die as like a second separate roll.
Okay. So 7d6 first.
Yes.
Finally got a couple of 6s there.
Hey,
So I got 2 6s and 1 1,
Okay.
which I will just take. And I mean, you haven't rolled
Yeah.
a 6, so I won't roll with my hope die.
So we have 66 remaining for this seat.
Okay.
And you have the narrative control, so why don't you tell me how this operation goes?
So it's risky for a lot of reasons, because we have to make a lot of noise to do this, and we're pushing a car over the edge, which is then going to pull another car. And so I think we're able to push this one car off, and it's going to pull 2 of the cars, but there's going to be one that kind of hangs on the edge and it kind of teeters. Jonathan and I will maintain. We'll be able to get out of the way, but there's going to be this one car that like gets caught up on the side railing or on kind of the iron framework, and now there's 3 cars dangling off the bridge from this one car that is still stuck up top that I imagine is probably not long going to stay there. But it makes a lot of noise.
Makes a lot of noise to start, and then we get to sprint across the bridge, and it'll make more noise as we're halfway across the bridge. So hopefully draw them away from us.
Yes, that would actually be a pro, yeah.
So as the initial noise of pushing the cars over, you pause for a moment. And for a second, it seems that all is well. Until that last car, the one that gets hit, as it lurches and gets caught in place, the car alarm begins to blare.
Oh no. Oh no.
And slightly muffled by the car alarm, you do hear the sounds of several screeching creatures overhead as a large group of them, larger than what you've encountered before, all begin to descend on your location. They're all coming in from further within the town from where you just came. So you do have a few moments to prepare yourselves for your next move before they all descend. What will you do?
Shoot.
I would love to get as far across the bridge as possible.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Is we just book it.
Okay.
Yep.
Who would like to roll for booking it?
I mean, Ian spoke first, so I want to say Ian.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Ian.
We all have hope dice though, so
Yeah, 76 plus a roll of your hope die.
66.
66.
Sorry, 66. That's right.
All right. We've got 2 6s and 1 1, but the 1 was on my hope die, so it
Hey,
does not get removed from the pool.
very nice.
So we succeed.
Okay. Let's see about narrative control. You got 2 6s, right?
I also had 2, yes.
Okay. I've been ruling it so that all ties go to the player, so you will have narrative control in this scene.
Awesome. So the car alarm does draw as many of them as there are circling around to that spot. We go up the other side of the bridge and are about halfway across when the chain finally gives, or the car tears apart or whatever, and there's just this noise, this cacophonous just kabam as cars are falling off the bridge onto the pilings and footings below, and none of them really splash in the water. It's all just banging, smashing off the sides, and makes a lovely noise. And we get to watch as they all flock towards the noise, and we just run, orthogonal to the noise. And we are
As you all run, your lungs burning, sweat forming on your brow, you manage to make it to the other side of the bridge. From here, the road extends out into the forest. Light sources will be scarce from here on out, leaving just your flashlights. But for now, it seems that you've managed to evade them. What will you do from here?
Mr. Cobbler, if we follow the road, we'll get to the fort, but it's a long way. You said you knew the way through the woods to get there faster?
Yeah, I do. It's not that much faster, but I mean, the road goes that way, the fort is roughly that way, so if we cut through the woods, we should be able to get there somewhat quicker than if we just follow the road. We will need a flashlight, though, because while I know the way, I certainly don't know the way in the dark.
We've got flashlights.
So the plan is to go off the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like open areas better where they can fly around.
And I figure the trees will give us cover from flying overhead.
It's true.
Might even obscure the flashlight a little bit too, which would not hurt.
I am somewhat of, as I mentioned, did a lot of years in Eagle Scouts, somewhat of an experienced Pathfinder, so we'll be just fine.
I gotta figure after a couple of weeks of total darkness, the trees have like started to drop leaves. It's almost kind of like pretend like it's fall or something,
Oh, yeah.
or they won't know what they're doing. I don't know.
No photosynthesis for that.
So, Jonathan, you're saying that you're going to take the lead on navigating then?
Yes.
All right. You're blazing a trail. Getting there without getting turned around sounds like a conflict roll to me. So, why don't you roll me 66 followed by a roll of your hope dice?
No sixes and no ones.
Hey,
2 2s, 2 3s, and 2 4s, Mike.
Is that including your hope die?
No, hope die coming up now. 4.
In that case, is there anything that you would like to burn? But you didn't roll any ones, so never
I
mind.
didn't roll
Yeah.
any once. That's just a
so
fail straight.
In that case, I will
Wow.
extinguish a candle.
oh yeah. I was waiting for Jack to roll, but no, it doesn't matter.
Am I the only one at the brink right now, or have both of you burned everything else?
I haven't burned anything.
Oh,
I have burned my virtue and my vice.
all right. So you and I are both at the brink right now.
I suppose, yeah, because I've collected my moment, so it's gone.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot my moment, but yeah.
6 candles remain.
Ooh.
All right, burning that dice out of the pot.
This is what is true. The world is dark. Craig?
The truth is, Jonathan has absolutely no idea where he's going, but is unwilling to admit as much. And so just goes in the general direction he thinks and leaves it to chance.
Ian?
The truth is that Martin is increasingly less talkative than he was, and also just shooting more and more distrustful looks at Jonathan, as he has seemingly, again, as Frank pointed out, is using violence as his first means rather than his last, and it is not sitting well with Martin.
Mike?
Frank does know the way. He is content for now to let Jonathan lead the way. Maybe Jonathan will get himself lost.
For my truth, in the days since the world went dark and they appeared, the local wildlife has also been affected. Wolves that were once eager to stay away from human settlements
Oh no.
have begun to push in closer towards the town.
Love wolves.
One more truth from Craig.
Truth is that Jonathan is hoping more that Martin will actually make it, but doesn't want to let that be known. He's frame it this way. The truth is that he actually does care about getting Martin there, which is why he will do anything, including using violence as a first measure.
And our final truth. And
We
we
are
are alive.
We are alive.
So we will pick up with the three of you trudging through the woods. It's dark. You're illuminated only by your flashlights. What is everyone doing as you travel, if anything?
think Frank is maybe trying to make small talk with Jonathan, trying to get Jonathan to share a lengthy story. Jonathan, tell me about how you learned how to track through the woods. I mean, I've just spent so much time in these woods as a kid, but how? Tell me about your Boy Scouts.
Eagle Scouts.
Tell me about the Eagle Scouts.
Well, see, I grew up many different places, world hopping, and when we finally sat down for a little while, my father figured that learning to survive would be a good thing, considering how often we went out into the jungles and wild places of the world. So enrolled me in Eagle Scouts, spent 7 years excelling, earning all the badges. And wilderness survival was particularly keen interest of mine that I excelled at, did really well at. So got lost in the Peruvian jungles once. Nothing but a hatchet, pack of matches. Survived for 14 days. Till some locals found me.
As you're telling this story, Jonathan, you're suddenly interrupted as you hear the sound of a snapping branch to your right, some distance off. You see shadows moving through the woods, smaller than them, low to the ground. And as you shine your flashlight in that direction, you briefly see the reflection of a pair of yellow eyes before they move away from the light and into a bush.
Jeez.
It appears that you are surrounded by wildlife, not making any aggressive moves towards you yet because they don't know what you're capable of. However, they are standing in sort of just a loose group surrounding you, seemingly observing you.
Are these gray wolves or red wolves? Mexican red wolf.
I would say probably gray in this case.
Okay.
I know that we haven't locked down like
bigger.
exactly what state this is all taking place in, but we'll say it's maybe up north.
All right.
Without taking his eyes off of where we've seen the eyes in the darkness, Frank is going to tap Martin on the shoulder. I think now would be a good time to break out those granola bars. This might be a much better distraction for the wolves than for them.
Sure thing, Mr. Cobbler. Just hang on, and I'll crinkle, 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 and get these noisy wrappers out. And would you like one, sir? And I offer one to Jonathan.
You wolves are carnivores. I'm just gonna throw
Are
that
wolves?
in
What wolves? What are you talking about?
there. They were in the woods, they're. Oh, hell.
And now Martin's eyes are darting around. Like now he picks up on the wolves surrounding us. Like, what are we going to do about? Should we climb trees or shoot them or light a fire or flash flashlights or what should we do? I don't know what to do.
I think we
You were
should.
an Eagle Scout.
That's a good point, Jonathan. What's going to make more sense, throwing them food or climbing a tree?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? You said you survived in the Peruvian wilderness for 8 days, 14 days, whatever it was.
Yeah, this ain't Peru.
I mean,
that tracks.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we go process of elimination here? Throw the granola bars, see if they take the bait. If not, maybe we need to prepare to climb.
Just don't throw it at them.
No.
Martin, would you like to make a conflict roll for me?
Oh, boy.
66 and your hope die.
I'm trying not to let my love and knowledge of wolves bleed too much. Like you pick wolves, they're literally my favorite animal.
All right. No, I got 2 6s and 1-1, but it was on my hope die again. So it does not get removed from the pool.
Hey,
Okay. In that case, you have narrative control. Why don't you describe what happens?
So he does in fact ding a wolf on the nose with a granola bar. So that seems to like to make it sort of yelp, and the other sort of skitter around to it, which makes an opening for us to break the circle.
At this point, the wolves would probably not give too much chase. Again, they are pushing into the town and towards human territory, they are still wary of humans, and so would probably be willing to let you go.
All right.
As you continue to make your way away, you find that as you progress towards Fort Victor, your travel is becoming gradually more and more uphill. As you continue to move, you think that you see a shape at the crest of the nearest hill on the horizon, a large rectangular structure, which, as you draw closer, appears to be a hunting cabin. The lights are on. There is a pickup truck parked in this hunting cabin's gravel driveway, and there is an outhouse to the side as well. As you continue to watch, you see the shadowy silhouette of a shape moving past the lightened windows, telling you that there is someone inside.
let's get a little bit closer and see who that is.
You sure that's a good idea?
Yeah, because I happen to know whose cabin that is.
Fair enough. What if that's not them there, though?
Well, that's why I need to figure it out. If it's who I think it is, they're reasonable people. If it's
So
not,
you're going to try to move closer to get a closer look?
I'm going to try to sneak up. I know that the light from inside is going to illuminate the outside, so I'm going to try to approach from a dark spot.
Okay.
And then sneak a peek in the window as best I can.
Give me a conflict roll.
All right.
66.
And then my hope dice. That's not good. There's no sixes. There is also a 1. So keep that 1 over to the side. Rolling my hope dice. Hope dice is a 5.
Okay. How many ones did you say were there?
1.
Okay. That brings you down to 5d6.
5d6.
But you do succeed. Sorry, I'll make my roll to see if I have narrative control. I do not. So why don't you narrate for me what happens?
I think I get up there and I take a peek inside. And who I see inside is who I was expecting to see. And it is Mr. and Mrs. Pritchett, who are sitting down around their campfire, or sitting around their fireplace, sitting in their old rocking chairs, shotguns across either lap, sipping on a little bit of tea, seemingly. There's a kettle sitting on top of the fire.
Something out of teacups, at least.
Yeah, something out of teacups. It's true. Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do with this information?
I think at that point, I know these people, they're good people, and we're very close to the fort, but maybe they might have some more insight. So Frank is going to move around to the front door and knock.
This gives Jonathan the perfect opportunity to burn down the place from the back.
You hear the sound of footsteps approaching. And then without the door opening, you hear the sound of Mr. Pritchett on the other side say, "Who's there?"
Hey, Mr. Pritchett, it's Frank Cobbler. wondering if perhaps I could come in.
Here's an interesting situation. I know that I just made you roll.
Uh-huh.
I am going to ask you to roll again to determine the outcome of if Mr. Bridget is on good enough terms with Frank that he would let him into his shelter.
That's fair.
In the midst of the apocalypse.
So we're down to 5d6 plus your hope die.
I did roll a 6, but I also rolled 2 1s.
Oh, Lordy.
My hope die is also a 6.
Okay.
So I've got 2 6s, 2 1s.
We're down to 3d6 and you have
We
narrative
are.
control. So
I think, given the state of the world and given that his wife and he are sitting down with a well-lit place and shotguns in hand, Mr. Pritchett is not interested. I would even say, in fact, that through the doorway, Frank can hear Mr. Pritchett kind of stick the barrel of the shotgun up to the door. And through the door, Mr. Pritchett says something to the effect of, "Look, Frank, you're a good guy, but you need to leave."
very well. You are turned away.
What happened, Mr. Cobbler? I thought you said you knew that guy.
Oh, well, I do, but it seems like they have been changed by them.
Oh, so they're more like, and I'll look over at Jonathan, him.
Well, no, if they were more like him, they'd have just shot me. So, a little bit different at least.
Yeah, no. Shudders at the notion, and well, we're close to the fort now at this point, right?
Yeah, it's not far from here.
Let's just get there.
Frank, do they have anything we need?
Well, they both have shotguns. I could assume ammo. And they have something to drink, at the very least. Now,
But
whether-
it's cyanide tea. They're taking an easy
Yeah.
way.
Honestly, like it.
They've made it clear that everyone for themselves.
It's true. What are you suggesting?
I'm just asking you.
Listen, mister.
They have resources that are going to help us get there better. We need to get Martin to the fort.
Martin's going to put his foot down at this point. I'm tired of both of you using me as an excuse. Let's just get to the base. And I hope I never see either of you again.
Kid's got a point. The more time we spend out here, the more noise we make, the more danger we put ourselves in. I think we just move on.
So be it.
Jonathan,
Mm-hmm.
I am willing to give you a conflict roll here. Not to sway the others, but on a success, I will say that depending on how narrative control gets handed out here, you either notice something about the cabin or see an opportunity or get the chance to do one thing before you leave this area effectively. So roll 5d6.
3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah,
That's
3.
right.
Yeah, we're down to 3. Yeah.
It's my hope dice. Hope die. So. Oh, well then. That is 2 2s and 2 4s.
Oh,
Hmm.
Not a lot you can re-roll there.
and Jack
Every
rolled
roll
a
anything.
6.
That is the 5th candle has darkened.
Oh, yeah.
We are now halfway through. Maybe now would be the good time to take another quick 5-minute bio break and then come back at it.
And the second half should go faster anyway because we got less dice and less success.
Yeah, you're burning those candles down to the wick.
Okay.
Is it okay if we take a second break, Mike? Or
Yeah. If we take a quick one, yeah.
okay, yeah, this will just be 5 minutes.
All right. Cool. We'll be back.
Okay. BRB. Hello, and we are back. The game has started to run a little bit later than we expected. So in the interest of saving time and to keep us all on schedule, we all discussed and we've elected to voluntarily darken 2 of our remaining candles, meaning that we only have 3 left. So for the beginning of this scene, we will only have 3 truths. This is what is true. This is what is true. The world is dark. Craig?
The truth is that Jonathan knows we need that truck to get to the fort because time is running out. We're not going to
Ian?
make it on foot.
Ian?
The Pritchards were drinking cyanide tea, and they just want to be left alone to die in peace.
And the final truth?
We are
We are
alive.
We are alive.
So it sounds like we'll be picking things up back at the cabin still.
So yes,
I say as we're like, they're drinking cyanide, so we kind of hear, we're kind of arguing, and inside we kind of hear like a thump, thump,
thump thump.
like, yeah, a couple bodies like dropping. Frank?
Okay.
I think hearing the thumps, Frank will go and check the window again. Seeing a couple of dead bodies.
You
Nope.
see 2 bodies laying on the ground.
I think Frank will go back to the front door and try it to see if it's unlocked.
It is locked from the inside.
I do happen to be practical. I've picked many a lock in my day.
Frank's handy, so he could hotwire a car. So we might not need the keys. Also,
All right,
He's
Jonathan.
burned his handy though.
Yeah. Jonathan, why don't you, since you're apparently a lockpick expert as well as an Eagle Scout, why don't you try the door? And
and
Frank will go
champion
over.
frisbee player.
Yeah. Frank will go over and check the car and see if the keys are
spent
like
a lot of time.
on the dash or in the ignition or on the
Sun visor.
Alright.
the sun visor. Thank you. Yes.
We have 3 candles left. So, Jonathan, if you would like to try the door, roll me 3d6, followed by your hope die.
Here we go.
3 1s,
No.
3 6s.
No.
Oh,
Oh
4,
wow.
4, 4, 3.
Wow.
Jonathan, have you burned a virtue or a vice yet?
No, I haven't.
But he didn't roll a 1.
I didn't roll any ones.
No, that's true. That's true.
That's been the problem with Jonathan, is that when he's failed, he's
I
not
haven't
rolled a 1.
rolled any ones. I've been rolling like all 2. The amount of 2,
Okay.
3s, and 4s that I've rolled is absurd right now.
Well, that's another candle extinguished.
Oh boy, we're down to 2.
Bring us down to 2.
2d6.
Sorry, Virgil.
This is what is true. The world is dark. Craig?
I can't pick the lock, but the keys are in the spare keys are in the truck.
And the truth, the final truth.
We are alive.
Are alive.
It makes sense that the Bridgets, knowing that they would have no use for it anymore, would leave the keys in the ignition. And so we'll pick up with you speeding down towards the road, heading towards Fort Victor. How is everyone feeling at this time?
I imagine Frank is feeling quite anxious. He's probably not got the headlights on full blast. I imagine he's just got like the daytime runners. And it's a truck, so it's probably making a ridiculous amount of noise. So he's just waiting to hear the screeches of them.
Is Frank the one driving, or is
Oh,
Jonathan
yeah.
driving?
No, I think Frank's driving. He found the keys.
I assume Martin's not driving.
No,
End of the
but
world.
am
I
picturing,
mean,
like a 1978 Ford F-150, just this old, like
Yeah.
tan and brown piece of shit rusting apart thing.
And you haven't hit puberty yet, so your feet don't reach the pedals.
Yeah, no. But Martin is at least starting to perk up a bit as we're approaching the base, because he's hopeful to see mom or dad, hopefully both.
I think Jonathan's just sitting quietly, like he's got the figurine and he's just like staring at it.
At the current speed you're going, Frank, you're about 15 minutes out from Fort Victor.
okay. Well, maybe not hearing any screeches and thinking the town is way back there with big explosions and car alarms and sirens. Maybe it's a little bit safer. So I think Frank's going to speed up a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe a little too fast.
As you do, and as you go down the road, going a bit faster than necessary, it all kind of blurs past, but you do catch glimpses of things. Overturned military jeeps, smashed barbed wire fences,
Oh.
the occasional body by the side of the road.
Mm.
The closer you get to Fort Victor, the more of these remnants of a past struggle you begin to observe. What is going through Frank's mind at this moment?
That what we heard on the answering machine was the base's last stand. And we're not going to find anything when we get there. But he can't reveal that to the kid. He doesn't want the kid to lose hope yet.
It's on the brink, man. I'm on the brink.
So is Frank. I think maybe even at the sight of all of this destruction, Frank is a bit more anxious and goes even faster.
As
Don't
you
worry,
get
guys.
closer,
I think Jonathan would just say the compulsive liar in him, but trying to use it for good. He's like, don't worry, guys. Everything's fine. This is just the outer skirmish. I'm sure their inner defenses are holding up well.
at this moment, you hear some static as the car radio suddenly flickers to life. It's in that weird twilight state where it's picking up interference from another station. So you hear static punctuated by the occasional psh. To anyone who might be hearing this, psh, you must Fort Victor. Fort Victor. If you are on your way, we must advise. It looks as though if you adjust the channel knob, you might be able to get a clearer reception.
Oh, yeah. Martin's on that shit.
To anyone who has followed the instructions and is making your way towards Fort Victor, we must advise you turn back now. I repeat, turn back. We have detected greater increase in activity of the creatures. We believe that they might be using this area as some sort of base of operations of their own. I repeat, if you are on your way to Fort Victor, turn back immediately. As this happens, you are momentarily distracted, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And as you look up from the radio, you see, as the highlights illuminate in the middle of the road, standing directly in the road, hunched over is one of them. Your headlights illuminating them, giving you the first good look at them you've had, if for a brief instant. As your car barrels towards this creature, hunched over on all fours on the road, you see what appears to be this massive bat-like entity.
Mm.
Easily the size of a brown bear. Its coarse fur, a bright white, a pair of massive rounded ears, and as it looks up at you with two beady vestigial pink eyes, it opens up its fanged, crooked maw and lets out a piercing screech as you speed towards it. What do you do?
Well, what has to happen? Sorry,
Martin's
go ahead.
foot goes on top of yours and smashes down on the gas pedal. And you see tears are streaming down his face.
Martin, roll 2d6 plus your hope die.
I got a 5 on my hope die for 1 success.
Oh, wow.
I'll roll
On to 4 and a
my
2. You might, yes, you gain narrative control, but I succeeded.
Here's what I will say. As you slam on the gas pedal and accelerate, you remember your mother's advice for once you were old enough to drive. If you ever see a deer or a moose on the highway, that you should slam the brakes, because hitting it at full speed will cause less damage to you in the car than it would be to try and hit the brakes on the way. Now, out of character, I would not I would recommend you do some research on whether or not that's true or not. I don't remember how the episode of Mythbusters
They don't hit them; they'll
determined that.
destroy you.
Yes.
No,
So-
deer is different. If it's a moose, do not hit a moose.
Yeah.
If it's a deer, just go.
A moose's body is at the
Swear
right
for the
height that
deer.
it'll just
So,
decapitate
yeah.
you.
If it's a deer, drive through it. If it's a moose, do not hit it.
So I will just say that in the fiction of this world, this is the advice that your mother gave you. Whether or not it is viable advice is not for the fiction to decide. But as you slam this creature, it's like hitting a brick wall. You hear briefly the crunch of bone over the shattering of the windshield and the smashing of the front of the car as the car flips out, landing on its roof, skidding across the ground. All of you have seatbelts on. You are all safe. And as you lay in the remains of this twisted, broken car hanging upside down, you look through the shattered windshield and you see that the creature, one of them that you just impacted, is laying in a crumpled heap in front of the car, dead on the ground.
Crap. Well, I think Frank is immediately going to try to get himself out of the vehicle because, for all we know, there's a gas leak that's about to explodify the car.
Also, 2 more of them around.
Well, yeah, because there's certainly not just one. So we need to get out of this potential explosion. So Frank is going to work on his own seatbelt and try to get out as quick as he can.
Okay.
I will pull out my machete and cut the belt. Cut mine first, and then cut the other 2.
Noted on my sheet that I have a pocket knife for whittling down my clarinet reeds to the right shape. So I'm going to pull out my pocket knife and start sawing through my seatbelt.
You all manage to free yourselves of your seatbelts. As you crawl out, you see that a storm has begun to brew as a rumble of thunder rolls in. You look up briefly as a flash of lightning illuminates the sky above, as you see dozens of winged figures circling like vultures overhead. They've taken notice of you and are moving steadily down through the air towards you. What will you do?
What has to
Where
happen
are
to
we-
initiate our brink?
Hmm?
What has to happen to initiate a brink?
So if you make an unsuccessful roll, you can embrace your brink
Ah.
in order to re-roll all of your dice,
Okay.
the entire pool, not just once. If you succeed, you get to keep your brink. If you lose your hope die, and the candle is extinguished as normal.
Okay.
All right, Jonathan just starts walking towards the dead one, machete out. Machete in one hand, figure in the other hand. He's just still rubbing it, looking at it, looking up at the sky, and just kind of starts like, starts laughing as he just walks up to the dead one.
I think Frank will grab Martin's hand and say, "We got to go," and start running
Martin will
away.
to look around. Assuming I've been on the base before, I'll at least know approximately where we are and where I would expect to find my mom.
Okay. Jonathan, what are you intending to do in this moment by approaching the dead one of them?
Looking it kind of right in the eye, even though it's dead. And
You see a small, pink, almost vestigial, unused, semi-translucent pink eye glazed over, staring up at you. You see your own reflection, machete and totem in hand.
of course, it's bats. And I'm going to take my machete and like stab it down right in the center of this thing's head. And then just do it a couple more times and just start like just, ah! And then she yell out like, Frank, get Martin to the base. And I just sitting there, just like yelling and screaming and stabbing this thing's face in.
As you do, you hear a loud thud behind you as another one of them lands directly behind you. And then another one lands in front of you. The corpse of this creature, the only thing between you and this one. And you watch as it stands up to its full 8-foot height. You see that they have the ability to stand bipedally. Their winged arms ending in these long, bony fingers with wicked claws on them. As these two stand up and are the first to begin approaching you, flanking you from either side. What do you do?
I hold up the icon that I have and I read the inscription on the bottom that was put there that says, "It's Morbius time." And I charge the 2 bats with my machete.
Well, that definitely just took the wind out of my sails. All right. Roll 2d6 to try and morb all over these guys. Plus your hope die.
Oh, that's a 1 and a 2 and a 4.
Would you like to burn anything to reroll the 1?
Yeah, I'll burn my virtue.
Okay.
Try to be practical in making the final last ditch distraction to get Martin to the base. I'll re-roll this 1. That's a 6.
All right.
So that's a success. We tied for the number of 6s rolled, so you have narrative control here.
Fantastic.
My goal, Jonathan's goal, is not to win, but to keep them occupied.
Okay.
And so, despite his compulsive lying of his, Eagle Scout, so he actually was an Eagle Scout. He just embellishes the truth. So he's done all this, he was an okay disc golfer, and he's okay at woodsmanship and stuff. So he manages to hold his own long enough to kind of draw their attention, while Martin and Frank book it to the base.
Okay. Martin and Frank, as you're booking it to the base, you see several more of them breaking off from this orbiting flight pattern as they begin to swoop down and descend towards you. They can fly. They are some distance away, but they are capable of flying faster than either of you can run. What will you do to try and evade? No wrong answers.
Well, here's the problem, because I think Martin's going to dive under a nearby truck that might be too low for Frank to fit under.
Yeah, and that would make sense.
But Mr. Cobbler, come on, you can get under here. Come on, just squeeze in.
Okay. Martin, roll 2d6 in your hope die for me.
Oh boy. I got a 6.
Hey.
Any ones?
No ones, just 1 6 and 2 3s.
Okay. You have narrative control.
So I scoot under this truck and grab Frank by the ankles and pull him in after me.
Okay.
Even
And
though I
as
won't
much
fit?
as he didn't think he would fit, he can suck it in enough to get underneath there. It's not pleasant, but he can fit under the truck.
Pulling yourselves under the truck does buy you a few moments of respite. However, more of these creatures begin to land around you, and you feel the truck above you begin to lurch and shift as the creatures, as they land on the ground, they're literally ramming into the truck, trying to flip it over to get at you. This will not be a good hiding place forever.
Nope.
What's the next move?
I look at Frank. Where do we go now, Mr. Gobbler? now that got us into a mess, get us out, Frank. You're the fixer.
Frank is going to reach into his tool belt because that's what Frank has. And he's going to pull out flathead screwdriver. And he's going to reach up and he's going to puncture the gas tank of the truck. And then he's going to look at Martin and say, "When I say run, you get out and run into the woods. Got it?"
So it swallows. Okay.
All right. Frank,
Yeah.
give me a 2d6 plus your hope die.
Oh, all right. I rolled a 3 and a 4. And then on my hope die, I rolled a 1.
Would you like to embrace your brink
Ooh.
to re-roll all of them? Bearing in mind that if you fail, you will lose your hope die. And that will take us to our final candle.
Well, bearing in mind that Frank's brink is, I have seen you abandon others to save yourself. So
Is there a way that you think you can make that applicable?
I don't see any way that Frank could abandon Martin in such a way that it would somehow save him. I don't see how that would happen.
We could interpret it as him sending Martin to run away is almost like a diversion, and he's going to run the other way.
Oh.
Once the coast is clear.
Oh, it's so
if you
savage.
want to embrace your brink.
But I mean, the game's got to end, so I think I've got to embrace the brink. I'll just have to do it. It's
reroll
all of them?
both d6 and your hope die.
Okay.
Frank, you jerk.
I rolled a 6. A 2
All
out
this
of 4
time.
and a 6.
All this time looking down on Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay. You have narrative control.
So
And since you succeeded, your brink is not burned. You can keep it to use again, potentially.
Throw me under the bus again.
I think I'm the only one left. All right. So I think seeing all that's happening, Frank gets a little bit terrified, a little bit frightened, and he tells Martin to go before the plan goes off, and he tells Martin to run. And so Martin runs, gets out from underneath the truck and starts to run. Frank will wait until he hears them focus attention on Martin, and then Frank will roll out from underneath the truck and shoot the gas that's now pouring out of the tank.
Okay. Martin, as you are fleeing these creatures, you can practically feel the air from the beating wings as one of them swoops down towards you. Without looking back, you know that they are dangerously close to grabbing you. What will you do in this instance?
Well, as much as Frank told me to go to the woods, I'm still headed for the ops center where I know my mom is. I know my mom is. So I'm going to, I'll be running towards the wood to make it look good for Frank. And then I'm going to make a hard right towards the center of camp again, hopefully throwing them off my, be able to deke them out basically and get into a building.
Okay. Bit of a zigzag maneuver.
Yeah.
Roll 2d6.
Serpentine. I rolled another 6. 2 and a 3 and a 6.
Okay. no sixes for me. So you have narrative control.
So that's exactly what happens. I'm making the way for the woods, and then just as they're swooping down for me, I cut at just the right time, not knowing, of course, this is completely by accident. But I managed to get inside a building just as one of them swooping down for me, and it basically bangs against the door as I run through it.
Okay.
And now separated from Frank, but now inside a building, not the right one, but I'm headed in the right direction, I feel.
Jonathan, I'll get back to you soon, but for now, I want to jump back over to Frank. As you shoot, the gas tank of the car goes up in flames as the creatures, as they begin to circle around, not wanting to move towards the fire. They seem to be slightly repelled by the light, but they want to investigate what caused it. This has granted you an opening. What will you do with it?
I think that Frank will try to make way to the nearest cover, which would be the base. So he's going to
Okay.
run. He's got one shot left in the revolver. He's going to run towards the base.
Roll me 2d6 plus your hope die.
All right. 2, 2, and 4.
Would you like to attempt to burn your brink again?
Can I?
Yes. Since you succeeded on the last one, that means that you still have your brink. You
Mhm.
keep it until
Until you fail.
it fails you.
I just don't know how I would use it. Jonathan is over there. Martin's over there. I can't abandon anybody to save myself.
I mean, you're sort of continuing to abandon them, right? Like you're not going back for them.
No, that's true, I suppose. All right, so I suppose instead of going to the base, Frank will deviate and go to the woods, away from where Martin is.
Okay.
In an attempt. So this is rolling my brink, and I rolled a 1 on my hope die. So I lose my hope die now.
Yes, but you re-roll both d6s as well.
Yeah, and I got 2 3s.
All right,
So you've lost your hope die.
Yeah.
And we will extinguish the 9th candle. This is what is true. The world is dark, and we are alive. Jonathan.
Yeah.
You regain consciousness. There is a sensation of weightlessness to you. And all you hear is the sound of rushing air and the beating of leathery wings. There is a sharp pain in both of your shoulders. And as you look to either side, you see sharp talons embedded in you. You look up, and you see that clutching you by its feet talons, one of these violet creatures is flapping you through the air, taking you towards Fort Victor. Now, before we go any further, I will let you know that with only one candle left in play, any failed conflict roll here results in your character's death. Is there anything you would like to do in this moment?
I want to go out on my terms, not on its. I'm going to try and reach for, I think that's like pins my shoulders. I'm assuming the machete is probably far behind. But that last knife that I still have, I threw one. Machete's probably gone, but I still have that one last knife that I'm going to grab. And I'm going to try and like stab the thing like in the junk, basically, wherever, probably what I can reach. I'm going to junk it and then hope it'll drop me. And then I can just die on my own.
You die from the fall.
Roll me 1d6 plus your hope die.
Here we go. That's 2 3s.
Oh no.
moment,
I rolled no
in a-
ones or sixes, man.
in a moment, Jonathan, I will allow you to narrate your death, but there is one last thing that I would like Jonathan to see before that happens.
Mm-hmm.
As you pull out your knife and prepare to strike this creature, you are momentarily stopped. As you see the open courtyard of Fort Victor beneath you. And as you look down and you see what's down there, something suddenly clicks into place. These creatures, they are a hive mind, all working towards a single-minded goal. They collect their kills and take them back to their nest. It only makes sense that coming here, you would find the queen. A massive, wingless, bat-like creature, 20 feet tall, supported on a pair of stubby, spindly limbs that barely support its own weight, looks up at you, mouth open hungrily, awaiting the prey that is about to be hand-delivered to it by one of its many servant drones. I would like you now to describe how Jonathan dies.
I feel like Jonathan succeeds in shanking it in its nethers, and it drops me, but over the courtyard. So that as I'm falling, I'm like, yes, I'm dying on my own terms. Ah, crap. And that's the last thing that Jonathan says is just, ah, crap. As
Well, at
he
least you have the satisfaction of knowing that
drops
you
me.
went out, as you said, on your own terms.
Yeah.
Frank,
Mm-hmm.
you have cleared the road. You're now in the woods. You're moving through. It's dark. What is Frank's next move from here?
Well, seeing as that's where all of them are, I think that Frank is probably just going to run away. Try to get as far away
Okay.
from the base as he possibly can. Because that's where they're coming from, it seems like.
You're running into the woods in a mad dash to escape, having left the other two alone to their fates. You are in a forest, in the woods, an area that is known for hunter activity.
Yeah.
And with the amount of them that have been terrorizing the towns, you imagine that the amount of hunting traps that have been strewn about has probably only increased in an effort to ward them off. So even if they do not pursue you, there are still plenty of dangers to be had in the forest alone.
Mm-hmm.
Make me a conflict roll, 1d6 plus your hope die.
Which I lost.
So just 1d6.
D6. I rolled a 5.
I rolled 2 6s. You hear a snap as a pair of mechanical jaws from a bear trap snap shut on your foot, halting you in tracks and causing you to fall on your face.
That tracks. Yep.
Alone. Having left your companions to their fate, there is no one here to help you. Describe to me Frank Cobbler's final moments.
Oh, crap.
Could I just say that I love I know we're trying to get out of here, but I love that Trillium has been narrating along with all of this. And Trillium, yes, Frank is a coward. And Trillium's last message for Frank is, bye, Frank. I think that Frank, embracing his full cowardice, he's got one shot left in his revolver. He's mangled below the knee. He knows there's wolves out here, that there's gross creatures that are probably going to try to eat him alive. I think that Frank will succumb to his anxiety, his fright, and he will
Eat that last bullet.
eat that last bullet.
Mike, when
Me.
we upload this VOD to YouTube, we might want to put a content warning on it.
Well, it is a Halloween episode, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. But like content, like survival horror, like
survival. Yeah.
things.
And last but not least, there is Martin.
Oh, poor Martin.
What does Martin find when he goes into this operations building?
He finds his mom's desk, and it is as pristine as normal. Family picture on the desk. Everything looks set up, but she's not there. There's no one there. No coffee cup, no nothing. Just looks like she could be in the lunchroom for all he knows, but he just finds her desk. Nameplate, grabs the family picture and the nameplate and sort of huddles under the desk.
Remind me of what Martin's brink was.
Martin's brink is, I have seen you shut down and hide in a corner when pushed too far. He's hiding.
And is that where Martin will stay? Or
Yeah,
Well,
no, he is fully just succumbing to it at this point. He doesn't know what to do, and there's no one else to tell him to move.
in this case, I would normally call for a roll, but with your permission, Ian, in this case, I think it's fitting to end on this image of Martin, a 12-year-old boy huddled beneath his mother's desk while the world ends around him. And we will leave his fate as a mystery.
Your
Good call.
imaginations.
Yeah.
Queen
Your
is his
grim
mom.
imaginations.
The queen is his mom.
As I extinguish the final candle and prepare to play back the message that you left at the beginning of this game,
Ooh.
I will reiterate, this is what is true. The world is dark.
Look, I know that those who know me wasn't always the most reliable when it comes to what some would call facts. That I was right. And I just want that to stand. I was right.
That's right.
This isn't really a message of hope because I don't really have anybody to give this to. But I want my legacy to be remembered as the man who was right. When everybody thought that I was just making it up, I was right. Do it that way, we will. Mom, Dad, I did what you said, and I went to the shelter at the town hall. For Lieutenant Dana Cairns and Mr. James Cairns, who work at the fort. Mom, Dad, I nailed that arpeggio, though. I swear band practice was worth it in the end. I hope I see you soon. To whoever should find this, please know that we tried. We tried to get the answers we needed to save the boy. We tried to get to Victor. If you found this, you need to get to Victor. And you need to know that we tried. We tried to get the boy to Victor.
Oh no.
I forgot I said
Gentlemen,
that.
Oh man.
Thank you for playing this game with me tonight.
Oh,
And to everyone in
dude.
the chat, thank you for watching. This has been 10 Candles, a role-playing game by Stephen Dewey and published by Cavalry Games. We look forward to seeing you next time at our regularly scheduled Dungeons & Dragons game, which, on that note, as of this time of recording, next Monday is Halloween. I know that my co-hosts here all have kids of trick-or-treating age, and so
True,
I don't know
we do.
if we will be. I don't know if we'll be streaming a session that day.
Probably will be back the following week.
Yeah.
We will probably be back the following week.
Yep.
And we look forward to seeing you then.
Absolutely.
Until next time. Stay nerdy.
More about.
Nerdy.
Martin lives.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
More about.
You guys.
Bye.
Oh, man.